We all make choices. But in the end, our choices make us. So choose wisely. Subscribe to It's Erik Nagel wherever podcasts are found. And leave a positive review, won't you kindly? It's Erik Nagel. It starts now.
What up, my Nagel? 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 Talking about George R.R. Martin, not writing. Talking Marvel versus DC, who's more exciting? Talking George Lucas's legacy, high-scoring centipede. Talking Gittle's new beef burrito recipe. Talking about Stephanie McMahon versus Sable. Talking about the Cybermen versus the Weeping Angels. Don't blink, the dialect's more deadly than you think. Talking summer ale, blueberry pale, craft beer, pouring drinks. What up, my Nagel? Deadpool 2 features Cable. Talking Funko Pop, celebrity signed a label. Talking online gaming, bitchin' and complaining. Talking E-Rock, kissing the feet of Matt Groening. Warner Brothers properties, Superman's a mockery. Weird Al concerts, Kevin Smith's debauchery. Rick and Morty fun zone. The Lego build team, can I have your attention? Possible Donkey Kong kill screen. What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel? What up, my Nagel?
Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear.
It's Erik Nagel.
Hello and welcome to another edition of It's Erik Nagel, that is me. Over in the Upside Down is both Matt OG and Gittles.
What up? Go first. I didn't know who was going to go first. I was staring at Matt, he was staring at me, and it felt like a connection.
Trevor's over on the right here.
Go England.
And we are joined by our longtime friend and one of our favorite guests, Mr. Bryan Johnson, formerly of AMC's Comic Book Men.
Yes, hello. Unemployed now. It looks like, so these guys are on Skype?
Yeah.
It almost looks like they live together. Did you both move in and just say, like, beige, why not? Like, am I going to go all the trouble of repainting anything?
Yeah.
I am profoundly lazy. And rather than paint, I rather just put up a bunch of art prints and shit on the wall. So that's what it came down.
Yeah, I'm lazy as well, and I feel like the natural cracks in the paint make it look nice, but it doesn't.
It looks lived in.
Plus, you have to leave room on the wall for the ants to crawl around.
Oh, fuck those ants. They're all dead. They're all dead now. They all died. I killed them all.
And by ants, we mean real ants, not the fan base from Tell 'em Steve Dave.
I killed all them too.
No, not
But what am I going to do? What can I do? Anything goes these days. I don't care about anything. The one thing I do care about, E-Rock, you're 100% right. Soccer sucks. Nobody cares.
Thank you. We're going to talk to Trevor a little bit because I watched the World Cup. He convinced me to watch the Colombia-England game. Oh, we'll do it now real quick and then move on. So last week, Trevor was going on about how great the World Cup is, how it's the biggest thing in America. Now, in the world, we were talking about America. I know the world. I'm not denying the world. I'm saying in this country, nobody gives a shit about it. And you saying, no, I'm wrong. So I looked up some stuff. So yes, the beginning of the tournament was tanking really bad for Fox. It was just people weren't watching it. Then it did pick up, right? Then it dropped again in the rest of the country. The cities are watching it. The rest of the country is not watching this thing. So the ratings are okay if you're in Los Angeles, New York, a major city, but if you're in the middle of the country, no one gives a shit about it.
Well, when they get cable one day, they'll watch the World Cup.
They're still trying to campaign for I Want My MTV out there.
Absolutely.
To get the black wire put into their houses.
You know, they're still paging each other and sending each other faxes. So when they get, high-speed internet, they'll watch the World Cup.
You don't think that it's like the coasts are like, New York and LA. It's like they're so worried about like being hip and keeping up, and everyone in between is like, we got shit to do.
Right.
We got stuff to do. We can't watch a bunch of people from different countries kick a ball around all day.
Nope.
But people are so afraid of being left out in the cool hip places that they're like, oh, I love soccer. Until the next thing comes along, and then they'll love that.
Well, Gittles brought up because it comes every 4 years like the Olympics, and I was pointing out that people, when I was at certain bars or restaurants, people were going nuts as if they were watching in this area the Yankees or the Giants or the Rangers playing. Like lifelong sports franchise fans, they were acting like that. And I'm just looking at them like, you guys are a bunch of posers going nuts for the Germany-Sweden game, where it's like you don't have any connection to these countries, and you're not real
But
football
That's
fans.
what you say, Eric. We don't know everyone who's at these places what their connection is.
and not only that, right? But let's remove the fact that these are competing countries.
Right.
Oh, I'm not arguing whether or not soccer is good or sucks. That's
Yeah.
your. But in regards to what team you root for, how many people in any sport, right? People root for teams outside of their home state. Fucking Lewis was a Cowboys fan.
Right.
And he was from fucking Irvington, New Jersey, or wherever the hell he lived.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You understand? I mean, how many like Bulls fans are in New York, and you have like Pirates fans from fucking San Diego.
No, I get that.
Yeah, like our friend Pat runs like a
Seahawks bar,
Seahawks bar in New York City. So like, I mean, it doesn't.
And the best part about this is you get to root against countries. It's not just different cities. Like this is
I don't
like
need soccer to do that.
I was gonna say, I don't really need.
Just need world
like,
wars.
I'm just waiting for France to surrender during the middle of the World Cup. It's fun to do those things, and it's so taboo. I feel like to talk about soccer in this country that when the world finally gets involved, we could all be on the same page.
Okay.
That's why all of a sudden we come out of the woodwork and we're in the public eye.
All right. Even though I have seen press where it says interest in World Cup has grown in this country, it also applies to that it's a every 4 years thing, because once this is gone, it all goes away. They're not watching the Premier Leagues and the other leagues from Europe. They're not giving in this area. I know you go to Red Bulls games, but who really goes to Red Bull games as a fan?
I'm a season ticket holder.
That's your problem.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but like, who watches like triathlons when the Olympics aren't in?
Nobody.
You know what I mean? Like, isn't that like the same kind of like fandom? Like, I don't get it.
How many times have you watched Shaun White compete ever outside the Olympics?
I've seen the X Games.
Okay, one.
Yeah.
Ouch.
That's about it. I don't think the others are televised. So
The only thing
Exactly.
the World Cup has inspired me to do personally is impersonate a Russian soccer player. I mean Russian soccer player, so I can bang some lady and get Whoppers and $47,000.
I heard about
Yes,
that.
exactly.
yeah, that was a one-day promotion, by the way. They put that out one day, and then I guess
I read
corporate in America goes, "What are you doing?
They were like, "What?
What are you doing?"
I read that story and it said one day ago. I was like, damn.
do that.
We read about it. It seemed like it was par for the course in Russia, though. Like a couple Russian women were like, we deal with this stuff in advertising all the time. So it wasn't a thing.
To me, like,
Just
it doesn't
a
seem
Tuesday.
that out of the odd for like Russia. Like, it just seems like that's how they market things there.
Well, when I was anytime I've gone to Europe, you see ads where there's naked women on television.
They're much more playful. They're not so like prurient as
No, they're not
Americans.
sexual. It just happens to be like, it's like for Tide Stick. Girl spills something on her blouse. She just takes off her blouse. She's not wearing a bra. And she goes about doing the laundry. And it's like, oh, it's a little cheeky. And then it says Tide at the end. And you're like, they could never show this in America.
Yeah, people would be horrified here.
Yeah.
As liberal as the country seems to be, it's not really all that liberal.
I saw a nipple.
I know.
Well, that's those hardcore Christian conservatives making sure that like we can't see boobs on TV. I'm sure.
Speaking of liberals, I had occasion to hear it's Erik Nagel and Matt, I believe, corrected himself after using the word retard. Did I hear right?
Yes, he did.
Yes, I did. I corrected myself.
Why?
I was mostly tongue-in-cheek correcting myself. It was more along the lines of, "Oh, we're not allowed to use that one," meaning it's been added to the list of words we can't use.
It is.
Yeah.
Carlin's list is outdated at this point. It's more politically acceptable to say any of the things on Carlin's list than it is,
to say things you think are no big deal.
Half the other descriptive terms that people have used for a long, long time because everybody gets upset about it.
Kumia was recently. They were watching a TV show about Down syndrome people. Now my kid has Down syndrome. She's 12. And the stuff that he was poking fun at, 100% true. He's not wrong about it. Like how they fall in love immediately. Like my kid falls in love every 2 minutes with somebody else. Very romantic, very like emotional and stuff like that. He was wrong on the haircut. I won't let her get that bowl haircut. She's got nice long hair. But yeah, I don't see a problem with that when it's just like, hey, don't act retarded. It's like she wouldn't even know what it meant.
Here's what it is. It's less the sense of using the word and the term incorrectly, and it's more of somebody taking up the cause to defend the person who that word is about. So if you're saying you can't say retarded because that's offensive and that's whatever, okay, well, how is he using it, the word, you know? And it's the people who pick up the cause that may not even have somebody in their family or in their life, right, that need to champion that cause. And that's where things get dicey, because they're the ones that are screaming and yelling more than the people who should be offended by it.
But like, I fully understand why those words, like I understand why using the word retard the way that I used it, or why calling someone, or saying like that's completely gay. Like, I understand why people get upset by it.
Or
right?
like, don't act like a gay retard.
Exactly.
Trevor, that's not the show title. Scratch that out.
Sorry.
Like I understand that they're upset by it, and I'm okay with the fact that they're upset by it.
Right.
But at some point, it's like, okay, you're upset by it, but can't you kind of just move past the fact that you're upset by it?
No.
Yeah.
No, they cannot move past it.
Everything offends everybody now.
They can't move, and like.
No, they had to do it with TV and radio. Like, it's not officially a finable word on terrestrial radio, but there's been updates in certain companies where here's some new words that they don't want you using on the air because it causes social backlash. Howard even changed the name of two well-known characters of the Whack Pack.
Oh, yeah.
On his show, because Gary's now the Conqueror.
Yeah, Howard, who was starting the revolution when he went to satellite, the revolution, the fist, the revolution, all this shit, and then it's more PC than you could even believe.
So Gary's now Gary the Conqueror instead of what he used to be known as.
Now Gary Delabante's Gary the retard.
And then for Wendy, who I used to listen to before she was on Howard, she was a regular on the show called The Monsters of the Midday down in Orlando. And they wound up taking the morning slot when Clear Channel fired Howard after the Janet Jackson thing. And then Wendy started calling into Howard's show and became Wendy, and they stopped calling her the rest of it now. They just say, oh, it's Wendy. And you just automatically know who she is and what she's about. But that's the climate that we're in. Certain words, whether you're using them in an inoffensive way or in an offensive way, just trigger everybody, and it's like you can never say these things again because there's so much social backlash, whether you're right or wrong.
Do you give a fuck about social backlash? Unless it affects your job.
Okay.
Then who gives a shit?
Exactly what I was going to say.
And that's what happens. Like, corporations are more powerful than just like making laws and all this other shit.
Right.
They also have this heavy influence on like, oh, well, we better not say this, otherwise some people will get mad and it'll affect our bottom line. So now if you work for that corporation, there's always like standards that you have to adhere to, morals clauses and all that shit. But for someone like to do something so minor at times. Mm-hmm. And to get fired over it is really just another symptom of corporations running the fucking country.
But, I mean, in most cases, the companies just knee-jerk and will automatically fire whoever it is. In some cases,
they're
a lot of
trying to
cases,
protect
rightfully
their bottom
so.
line. They're trying to protect their money. Like, they don't want to see it get retweeted 1,000 times and be like, this is this insensitive company, and then they get a boycott, and then they get a backlash. It's just,
it doesn't even need to be true.
They would rather just get rid of the problem.
Well, that's another part of it too. Is that until you have all the information when an accusation is made online, the punishment doesn't fit the accusation. I mean, because they jump on it right away without the proof.
Hardwick is a perfect example recently of someone who, like, everyone was immediately like, that fucking piece of shit. Now, I've met Hardwick a couple times. He was always friendly to me. I can't make a judgment as to his character one way or the other. But the second that whatever Chloe somebody wrote that, it
Chloe
became
was her name,
fact.
Yeah.
It became true. And people go after him as if it's true.
Right. And the company, he had sold Nerdist a couple of years prior. He was still there in name and was using it the name up until recently when he switched over to the Idiot podcast, ID10T. He hadn't really had a hands-on anything with Nerdist for a while, but they said we were moving his name off our website for the history of the company.
Well, and also
it's
people,
like, what is that? What good is that going to do?
Nothing. And also the people that are like, boycott the Nerdist podcast. It's like, all right, idiots. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
It doesn't exist anymore.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But also with his thing too, his case is a little different because a lot of other accusers, people who have been accused, have flat out come out and said that guy. Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey, they all pointed the finger at him. She beat around the bush gave all signs to point to the guy, but wouldn't say his name. Then this is the problem that I had with it. At the end, when she said, "I have audio and video of this, but I didn't release this out of to so that didn't hurt you."
Right.
But you did all the damage anyway.
Have we seen the audio? Or I mean, have we heard the audio
and
seen the
video
video?
Have not been released.
Oh, they haven't been produced. Amazing.
Right. So everybody was calling for his hanging. Now, the smart thing was AMC and NBC, they suspended the show. They didn't fire him, which everyone's like, he's been fired, his show's gone, whatever. No, they shelved the show, but they have not. They said until we have further details, which is, I wish what more companies would do until they get all the information. If that came out and he's really that big a piece of shit, totally fire him, nobody defend. Like, I get that. But until you get to that point, you got to have some kind of, reasonability here, saying, look, I know she's making that claim, but we need to figure out if this is really what's going on because he brings a lot of money in to AMC. He brings a lot of money into NBC with The Wall, and anything else his Comic-Con benefits from him with their cross promotions for Hard Work Properties and everything that he's done for them. And now they've all just wiped the slate clean of him.
And anyone who, the things that Hardwick was doing, and anyone who worked under him, kind of just like Roseanne, they're
Feels
like,
the
okay,
effects.
now what?
Yeah.
Now what do we do?
Well, the two guys that do his podcast with him haven't commented on it at all, really. Matt Myra and Jonah Ray.
Right.
Jonah does Mystery Science Theater on Netflix now, and Matt has a whole bunch of other projects. They've retweeted other people's comments, but they really haven't said their piece. So anyone that really worked with him directly hasn't said anything. Even Felicia Day, who had partnerships with him, she said we believe her. She should be taken seriously. Whatever. Didn't comment on Chris.
But
so, yeah.
One thing I want to say is, all these people that are coming out in his defense, that's great, right? And I'm not saying that what Chloe said was true either, but just because he was nice to someone doesn't mean he was a complete piece of shit to somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, the jury is still out.
Yeah,
of course, that's exactly right.
What I applaud AMC for doing is just suspending it and kind of looking into it and letting all the facts come out. I have a coworker that I know really well. He's worked for a major sports franchise for the last 25 years, and apparently he was making a joke in an office it's a big studio, which he thought was just him and another coworker. He made a joke. A female employee heard it, got offended, reported him. He got fired the next day. No investigation, no nothing. He got called in the next day. They fired him, and he just said, well, I didn't know someone was there. I admit that I made the joke, but can I apologize? Or can you just see what it was?
Well,
I like the idea of maybe looking into it a little bit more. How offensive was this joke, instead of you're just fired on the spot because she said you made this joke? And he's like, that's not how I said that joke. That's not what I meant by it.
As someone who works in corporate America, whether or not he thought someone was there to hear it, that's kind of irrelevant. If he said that he said it, he doesn't have much to hang his hat on.
But the interpretation, he's saying, I was saying it to this person in this way, and he understood it. He wasn't offended.
Yeah.
I didn't know someone else was in the room. I thought I was by myself.
Yeah,
it doesn't. I'm telling you, man, as someone who has to sit through dumbass sexual harassment training at least once a year or every other year at my full-time gig, it doesn't fucking matter how you thought it, you were saying it.
So wait, are you training to become a better sexual harasser? Or
I am.
Oh, okay.
I take copious notes on all the loopholes.
Nice.
Well, I have a friend who does HR for a company, and he tells me stories all the time about every single almost every other day. There's a sexual harassment claim going on at one of his jobs or something like that. Sometimes it's men on men, sometimes it's women on men. It's just
But
all
what I'm
different.
saying is he has to investigate
that's the
them a
thing.
little bit
He
more.
has to deal with this, and sometimes it's really stupid. And he's like, I know one person is blatantly lying, and I know this other person's telling the truth, but I have to go and meet these people, then I have to go to this corporate thing, and then I have to get all the other people who supposedly heard what this person said into the room, and it's just a fucking nightmare.
No, but
They didn't do that. They just
that's
fired
the
him.
right process to go. Not just one person said it. All right, you're out of the building right now.
Yeah, the guy
which
got
is what
walked out.
happens in media.
But
and-
they were
and-
both suspended until it was resolved.
And that's fine. That's what it should be. Not just this one person said something, fire the other guy. There should be that process. There should be that whole annoyance that everybody, unfortunately, has to be a part of to figure out what the right story is and the appropriate action to do so.
The guy was there for 25 years, never had a complaint against him, and it was just one-on-one. And again, I agree with Matt where he shouldn't have said it. He admits it, but I guess when you think that you're by yourself and you didn't know like someone was in the corner, you know, we make jokes all the time, I'm sure at work, to a coworker that you're in your cubicle. How do you know someone's 10 cubicles down? You think you said it soft enough, but you didn't. Like,
I thought that was a joke.
I'm offended.
How do you know someone's 10 stories down? You didn't say it soft enough.
Matt?
I mean, that's a very real situation that I'm not defending it, but I'm telling you, that's a very real situation that corporations like tell you it doesn't matter even if you think you're by yourself. You can't that you're by yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have an expectation of privacy. You don't have an expectation that someone's not listening or coming around the corner. And I'm not saying what they did was right. I'm just telling you that he is just a victim of modern day corporate culture.
Yeah, I mean, and but that's what I'm saying. I just think it sucks because she took it one way. He's like, that's not how I meant it.
Right.
And just because it was her view of it, and within 8 hours of it happening, he was just gone after 25 years there. You think maybe a suspension, let's look into it a little bit deeper. Maybe, you know.
I sort of keep to myself.
Corrective action.
At work, I keep to myself. I'm not real super friendly with anybody.
No.
Because I don't want to allow myself to get to that comfort level
Where you slip.
where I slip.
Right.
So the way to avoid that is to just not get comfortable with anybody. I go in, I listen to like some podcasts and some music. I do my work. You know, I deal with the people I have to deal with professionally. Hi, good morning. How's it going? You know, I know some of the people and their kids and shit like that, and have little pleasantries here and there. And then I go home, and then I come home and I do a podcast, and I say terrible things on the podcast.
But now you're viewed as the person in the company who's like, oh, he's the loner. He doesn't really talk to anybody. He's the one we suspect one day is going to come in here and cause a ruckus.
Oh, yes.
But that works in my favor because people are always giving me donuts and Snickers and shit. And it's probably because they think I might shoot up the place one day.
I was going to say, people who keep to themselves, it's usually because they're being shunned like an Amish pariah anyway, so they're like, oh, I'll just keep to myself.
No, so somebody's sitting in the lobby and Matt walks in past the receptionist or whatever. They have coffee and food and everything ready for him. It's like, oh, is that one of the bosses? Like, no, that's Matt. We'll tell you about Matt later.
If you walk down the hallway in my office and you look in people's offices and cubes, it's like their favorite sports memorabilia, race cars, and my wife likes horses, and I like, you know, this team or that team. And then you walk into my cube and it's like
it's as beige as your office.
It is like my office in that, you know, there's some like signed Funko Pops and like, you know, there's like a couple of Lego pieces. Like I'm the pariah anyway. I'm not really breaking the stereotype by kind of keeping to myself.
Well, I worked at like a women's media company, and like that shit was it was very real, where like people would complain about anything that happened if a dude did it. And they would just complain about anything. Like my friend had like a wallpaper background that would constantly change. It was like movie posters and stuff like that. And sometimes it'd be like a woman in bikini, and he would get passive aggressive like Post-it notes left on his desk, left on his computer. Like, we don't appreciate your male gaze looking at women like this at work. And he's like, dude, it's literally art. It's just pictures that I had in a folder. So the way he got revenge was he took all the pictures that was on the company's website and put it into that same folder. So when the screenshots came up, it was the company's material. And then when the people complained, he's like, well, if you have a problem with it, this is the media we're putting out. And,
I just would have put up cock pics.
Yeah.
I would have suffered through it and just said, look, it's punishing them more than it is me.
Yeah.
And there was like a lot of double standards there. Like I had a female boss who would make rape jokes in the office, and like I would told her, I'm like, if I said anything like that, I would probably be on like a sexual predator list. Like, you can't say that. And she just laughed. She's like, well, who's going to stop me? And I was like, I guess you're right.
But she's right.
Yeah,
she's right.
She's right, though. She's totally right. Like, I mean, I was like, I can't say that I wanted to chase someone down the street and rape them the way you just did, because that would make me look horrible.
And what's your name?
You're allowed to say it.
This is
And how fast is she?
This is oddly relevant to something that's going on social media today. There's a very well-known cosplayer out on the West Coast. And I guess over the last 2 days or so, all of these harassment allegations have come out against her. And it's her.
Against her?
Against her.
Wow.
Harassing other female cosplayers. Like grabbing their asses and grabbing their boobs. One girl, she like pulled her top down in the middle of a panel and like pretty much forced this girl to flash her tits to a room full of dudes at a convention. But it was interesting to watch it play out, because I expected a lot of people to really come to her defense simply because she was a female, and I was expecting a lot of that. Oh, it's just, girls being girls, and it's not. Like, she's getting beat up,
like Kevin Spacey.
Well, is she cosplaying as Harvey Weinstein? Maybe it's okay. Like,
what was her name? Which one was it? Or do you not name names here?
Are there pics to prove that she did this?
There are all sorts of like pics and videos, and it's bad. She's in trouble. Her name is Mariah Mallad, something like that. I think her cosplay name is Momokun, Momokun. If you look up the hashtag,
okay, I heard that differently.
Yeah, if you look up the hashtag on Twitter, you'll see a bunch of it. But she was supposed to have an appearance at a convention today. Anime Next is going on out on the West Coast. And the booth that she was supposed to be at canceled her appearance and association with the booth.
It's now a PTSD
booth. But their initial response was, well, we're going to look into this. And then people just started tweeting them like proof, like videos and photos and stuff. And they were like, yeah, no, we're just.
Do you think it's a backlash against women? Because it seems like every single time someone gets accused, it's like an older white guy, which is probably statistically the way it goes. But no one is like your boss who's making rape jokes. Like, no one's going to say anything about that. Nor would I be like, if it were me, I would never be so offended that I'd be like, I want this person to lose their job. Unless they were annoying, and then I would want them to lose their job. Yeah. But maybe this is just sort of like, all right, well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander type situation, except in reverse, I guess.
Yeah, it all seems.
As long as you don't take a gander.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
This one in particular seems to have started from the female cosplayers. Like, there is no male perspective coming into this other than to say, yeah, this is wrong. And if this was a guy on the other side, we would be crucified. So I'm glad to see her getting the same thing that we would get, kind of thing. So
the irony there is when they walked into that con, there was probably a standee that said cosplay is not consent. Because, and if you ask any cosplayer, they're like, it doesn't really happen that much. Like, two girls who have been doing it for years are like, never happened once. But again, they have to cover their asses in case somebody sues, and then blah blah blah.
No, we look. I mean, as you have been doing cons now for Comic Book Men, Matt and I have done New York and San Diego, the big ones, and every year those signs get bigger and bigger since they started putting them out, where it says cosplay is not consent. So you walk over and you see like, some kind of artwork that looks like a comic strip panel, and you're like, oh, what's this? And then you read the thing there, and it's telling you that cosplay is not. It was just to get. Attract your eyes so that you read this, and then it's on the back of everything that they hand you now, all the documentation, your badges, all that stuff.
Who sees that shit though and is like, oh man, I was just gonna take some liberties, but now that I see the sign, like what kind of morons are going?
I had the big Hulk hands ready to go.
Yeah, right.
The truth is, the people that are going to do it are going to do it irregardless of the sign.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're going to do it. That's the type of person that they are. I mean, I've seen it happen before. But I agree that
But it was from first person perspective.
It's called POV.
Signs make you believe, but it does happen, I think.
Oh, I believe it happens.
I'm sure it does, yeah. I've personally have not seen or experienced anything like that at any of the cons. I've been fortunate enough not to see that happen.
Oh, I saw it at San Diego last year.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
Did you tell me about it?
Oh, he was doing it.
It was me. I witnessed it because I did it. No, someone walked up to. It was another really famous cosplayer. I can't remember. Was it Vera Bambi? Maybe one of those ones. But walked up to her and full on like handful of ass, just grabbed it.
Wow.
And got slapped.
One cosplayer did it to another.
No.
Somebody did it to a cosplayer.
No, some random guy walked up to her and grabbed her ass right outside of the convention center. It was on like Friday afternoon or something. It must have been one of the times I was walking around
shopping.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you this. I'm curious. I was at a con in Texas, and there was it was a lady. She was dressed up as some character, but like the bodice of the character went above her head, right?
Sure.
And it had these fake boobs. So some kid walked up and he reached up and grabbed one of the fake boobs. And I'm not talking fake like she went to plastic surgery. I'm talking it was made out of plaster of Paris or whatever the fuck.
A Total Recall, fake boob.
Yeah. And the lady got really mad. Is that sexual harassment, or is that just molesting her costume that I'm sure she worked very hard on.
Well, it's
Can
a
you grab
little,
a fake
it's a little
boob?
of both, but the intent is there. That's what gets you.
Even though the boob was up by her head. Is it
that's
still
different.
yeah,
then
that's what I mean. The bodice of the costume like was way up
that's
here.
a little different. That's just being a dick.
Right.
Yeah,
Or she just could have been protective of her costume.
That's
too.
what I
Like,
mean,
that
yeah.
chick could break.
Yeah, he probably just shouldn't have touched her costume. Is
There
what it
you
comes
go.
to.
There you
That's
go.
what
Just keep your goddamn hands to yourself. Did you see this
right,
Snoop Dogg thing? Everyone's pissy because of Snoop Dogg playing at this fireworks festival.
No.
Oh,
I read
No, I
this.
didn't hear anything about this.
Yeah, yesterday there was a fireworks display somewhere in Jersey, and I guess Snoop Dogg was going to play before it, and he took a little long to get on. And then when he was
It was
on,
in Jersey City.
then when he was on, he played a little bit longer than he thought, and all these parents who had their kids to watch fireworks left. And I'm reading the article, and it's like they're outraged. They're tweeting the mayor. They're outraged.
Yeah, I'm seeing it in the New York Post here
Because
now.
their children were disappointed. And I think this is a good life lesson for these kids. Because who
Life
the
is full of disappointment.
who the fuck ever told you would not be disappointed or offended or have your feelings hurt in this life? Why is it such a huge deal every time someone gets disappointed? And honestly, if you're bringing your kids to see fireworks anyway, you're teaching them a lesson that I don't get fireworks. I don't understand them. I don't get why people want to look at lights in the sky.
Okay, yeah, so
I
I'm
like
reading.
to see shit blow up.
I don't.
I hate
if
fireworks.
they blew up a Volkswagen or something in the parking lot, that I would be into. But fireworks, I'm just
I'd
like,
totally watch that.
For what? A giant crowd. It takes hours to get it from.
But what
from
were
a
they
place that takes 15
disappointed in?
minutes.
I'm getting to that right here.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
the article says that. So he, and by the way, he did a huge set. It's all his radio hits, so he could perform clean, right? Also had Akon as the surprise guest, which is kind of cool, right? They're upset because the show started an hour late.
Okay, I thought they were gonna be like disappointed because like he only played new shit and not any of the good stuff.
No, they have some of the set list here. It's all hits.
No, because their precious little special children didn't get to see fireworks because Snoop Dogg played too long.
Right,
And
and
let
it
me tell you
says-
something. Way more people were happy about that than were disappointed about the fireworks.
Right, and it says by the time the fireworks finally started around 10:15 p.m., many impatient parents had already headed home with their kids, but not before tweeting the disapproval to both the rapper and the mayor of Jersey City. Let's see. Oh, they're listing some of these tweets here.
Well, dogs hate fireworks, so they couldn't have had it earlier because he would have just ran away.
Yeah, they're like
The whole dog pound.
boom, boom, little run off. Thousands of the parents and kids awaiting the fireworks. It was a school night.
Lots of
the
orphaned
people of
rappers
Jersey
on-
Who
City.
the fuck's going to school in July
Nobody.
5th?
Any reasonable parent is keeping their kid home
Not
the next day.
smart kids.
Parents were probably pissed because they had to go to work this morning.
Yeah, fact.
My stupid kid had summer school the next day. The people of Jersey City are super annoyed and bummed and are bailing on this event. We are not your biggest fan. Like, all these people are, I don't know why they're complaining.
And
You're
they're going
right.
to ruin it for everyone because next year now you're going to have the best Billy Joel cover band. Something safe so they don't have to
People
get
are
in the
upset
way.
the fireworks were delayed because of Snoop
They should just get
Dogg.
an orchestra playing the smallest violins in the world.
Look, first of all,
La-di-da-di-da.
opening band for fireworks. Just sell some hot dogs and hamburgers. Maybe have a bouncy house for the real little kids. Set the shit off and let everybody go home. Like,
But if you know Snoop Dogg's going to be there, like, you have to figure, like, these guys are well known for being tardy. You
Yeah.
know? Are we still allowed to say tardy, or is that like
No, it's a derivative. It's
right?
good.
Yeah.
We'll beep it.
You should not have been surprised when Snoop Dogg
First of
was
all-
late and then played too long and all this other shit. It just like you see, like, they're probably tweeting, and it's like, you know, the comments. It's like 2,600 comments. Like, you think your voice to the chorus is going to mean fuck all to
Yeah.
anyone?
75% of the people who went to Jersey City to see Snoop Dogg did not give a shit about the fireworks.
And can I also
Yeah.
point out that most people in this world know Snoop Dogg and his content? Why are you bringing your kids to the guy who's going to start doing Drop It Like It's Hot while all the girls are twerking and dropping
it
their
like it's
ass?
hot.
Yeah. Why are you going to bring your kids to this
Because
thing?
God bless America, that's why, Eric.
If someone says we're going to drop it like it's hot, and then you go,
Yeah.
do not be surprised when they drop it like it's hot.
Exactly.
True. They were
It's like, this is
promoting-
nothing like the Pop-Tart song or whatever it was that he sang it to. Hot Pockets. That's what it was. He changed the lyrics.
Pockets?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
changed the
did.
lyrics to do a Hot Pockets commercial called Pocket Like It's Hot. He made a ton of money.
I would
and
be
don't
angrier
blame
at
him.
that than no fireworks.
Oh, well.
Oh, man.
Well, what did you do for your 4th of July, Brian?
4th of July, I took the kid to the pool club and went home. And then just went home. I didn't get involved in any of the fireworks. Yeah, now I'm also like, this is where we'll find out that this is why I really don't care about fireworks for her, is like the booming and shit. Like, since she has Downs, I guess it's a thing. She doesn't like flowers either. There's like all these weird tactile and audio things that she doesn't care for.
Right.
And fireworks is one of them. She doesn't like the booming and stuff. So I was like, thank God you don't enjoy them, because now I never have to go again.
Right.
So yeah, what did I do? I stayed home. I tried to watch the last episode of The Staircase. Oh my God. They drew this out. It sucks.
Oh man, it's on my list.
They should what they should have done was take it and just truncated it, knocked it down to 6 episodes. They have so much. I'm on episode 13. It's the last one. They have so much extraneous information and shots over and over of him walking around and all this other shit, and you're like, enough. I don't need to see any more of this guy. By the end, you're not rooting for anyone. You don't care if he's sprung or not. Like, you just don't care.
Isn't it amazing where, you know, just a few years ago, the American standard of television was like, how are we going to fill 22 episodes for a season? And then they adapted the British scale of doing 6 to 13 roughly. So when you put out a special, now it's like, well, you got 13 episodes to fill. Yeah. And based on what you're saying, it's like, how are we going to fill 13 episodes? You couldn't, 24 was the concern. Now it's 13.
Yeah. But also, The Staircase was filmed over like 15 years. So like the first series that came out with the first 8 episodes were from like 2006, and then the other episodes are from 2011, and then the other episodes are from 2017. So it's just following the whole appeals process.
Yeah,
but I'm in the boat of like, I don't think he's guilty or innocent. I don't really care. I just don't think he got a fair trial. Like, that's where I'm at.
Well, he definitely didn't get a fair trial, but whether he's guilty or innocent, like, you don't care by the end. A woman's dead. You're like, I don't give a shit. Just tell me what happened, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
Did you hear the owl theory?
That an owl, because it was an owl feather, an owl must have knocked her down the stairs.
That she was attacked.
That's some
by
Harry Potter shit.
That's a reach. Yeah, that's not what I'm going to.
Or Twin Peaks, either one.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I'm Team Owl. I totally believe it.
Or like when the defense brought it, I mean, the prosecutor brought the lady in who's like, I didn't remember anything for like a couple of years. Then I started having flashbacks, and some of them were in color. I'm like, why the fuck would they put her on the stage? She sounds crazy.
Well, it's still on the front page of Netflix for anybody who wants to go check it out.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there, man.
So
it's a fascinating story, though. It's a really crazy story, but it's,
and he's a weird guy.
By the end, it's just like, all right, well, what the fuck happened? Who knows?
I think for me personally, just any show in general, I'm at the point where like 8 to 10 episodes, 13 episodes is even too long for me now.
Wild Country,
episodes at least ends up being 3 episodes of exposition that I don't need.
Yeah, there was just so much information that you're like, I don't care. This doesn't move it along.
Yeah, I'm struggling getting through the 2nd season of Luke Cage right now, which I've been trying to watch. And it's the other day I was watching an episode, and I think I literally fast forward through maybe a full minute and a half of just music. No fighting, no exposition cut in. It was
soundtrack.
It was just some like...
Yeah, season 2 was shot very MTV-like. Like, there's a lot of music used in it.
And that's fine. You can use music to move the story along, but at least show me something interesting on the screen and use the music as like a bed. This was literally like 3 guys playing...
Yeah, on stage
on stage, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, really?
What they did, it seems like they took an idea. I don't know if you were a Twin Peaks fan or not, but I was a big Twin Peaks fan, and then they brought it back last year for 18 episodes, right?
I tried. I could not get through it.
It was
I got through 7 and I gave up.
Well, 8 is the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen in television because it had nothing to do with what was currently going on. It went in a totally different direction into this other universe of nonsense, but. What they were doing, what David Lynch was doing in that 3rd season, was towards the end you'd start to see them cut back to that bar club that was in the town, and you'd see musicians on the stage playing. Like at one point, 9 Inch Nails was playing at that club. But when you saw the band, it meant that, all right, this band's going to play a song that somehow ties into the whole episode, and then that's what they roll the credits over. So when the band showed up, then you knew the episode was over. It seemed to be the thing they did in Luke Cage season 2. When these bands started performing, up on the stage. It was either to pass a lot of time when they didn't have anything to bridge two ends of the story together, or towards the end if they cut to the club and the band was playing that and you knew the episode was about to end.
Yeah, I struggled to get through the first season, so I knew there was no way I was going into a second season of Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I haven't finished any shows I've started in the last year. I got like 6 episodes in, and I just get so bored. And even shows I like, I'm just like, I just can't keep watching this shit. I don't know.
I was blowing through a bunch of stuff on Netflix, and I realized that the new season of Arrested Development was out. And I was like, oh, right. I said, I'm going to go watch that. And I go to watch it, and then all of a sudden I see, like, wait, it's just starting. I'm like, I don't remember what the previous season was. So I go look at season 4, and I start to watch the first episode of season 4. I'm like, well, maybe I didn't watch season 4, which was also a Netflix thing. So I'm going to try it again. And I'm going through it, and then I see there's 22 episodes, and they're all 22 minutes each. Yeah. I was like, all right. And then I started watching it while I was doing other things, and then I was like, this is really a long time. This is taking a long time to get to the end of this season, which there was so much going on. It wasn't like there was filler. There was a million different things happening where the stories were intertwined with each other. And then now I'm at season 5, and season 5 is 13 episodes. So I'm like, what was all that about if this is where we're at now?
Yeah, I haven't gotten through season 5 yet either.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm with Giddles. I started Lost in Space. I liked it, and then just like life got in the way.
There's Dr. Smith is a female.
Yes.
Who is it again? I can't remember.
It's Parker Posey.
Parker Posey. I like Parker Posey.
Did you watch it or no?
No, I didn't watch it.
Okay, because she's not really Dr. Smith.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the spoiler for you.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Smith in the original is. There's just no better character.
Yeah, and no one played it better than.
Awesome.
No one played it better than Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Matt LeBlanc is the lead character.
You look at what's her name, Lacey Chabray in that
just
Lost
anybody.
in Space, and you're just like, oh my god, when she gets older, like, I never dreamed how hot she is.
Yeah, I know she's young, but I thought she was hot in Party of 5, and then she's in Mean Girls.
Mean Girls, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, she actually held pretty well.
Am I the only one who refuses to watch Mean Girls?
Mean Girls is pretty good if you take Lindsay Lohan out of the equation. Because the other 3 are really good. Lindsay Lohan, every line she delivers, she's like she looks up and blinks and stammers. Like that's her thing for that character.
Yeah.
She's really not that great.
Yeah.
The movie
she goes
itself,
line for line. She says the line, she does the line, she says the line, does the line.
The movie itself is not that bad. It's pretty good.
I don't know. I think it's just because like every basic bitch loves it.
I don't think you would miss anything by never watching it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
But it wasn't
it's like
so
that
bad.
and Clueless. I feel like I never need to see.
Clueless I never saw.
Yeah.
I never liked Clueless.
I was forced to
never
watch
got it.
Clueless because the girl I was dating at the time thought this was her life and her friends because she was an only child, spoiled rich. Dad was just like, he was there, but he would throw money at everything to keep her entertained. And
so finally a character a white girl could identify with.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so was this like Long Island girlfriend, like someone from high school?
Yes, you know who she is. I'm not giving her name out. Yeah.
I'm not giving her. I know exactly who you're talking about, and yes, 1,000% yes.
She thought it's like, oh, this movie reminds me of so much of my life, and it's like, no, this movie is exactly your life, except you don't have the black friend.
Yeah, but so what? Like I hear that a lot. Like they with Black Panther, it's like finally a superhero they can identify with. I don't identify with any superheroes. If I say like maybe Deadpool a little when he's like cracking wise here and there, but other than that, like because someone is the same color as me, I don't know. I guess I just don't understand it.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get what other people are getting.
You know what? Let's take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk about all our 4th of July experiences. We got some TV and movie updates to give everybody. And, of course, we got to talk to Bryan about what's going on with Comic Book Men and the new ventures for Tell 'em Steve Dave.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
It's Erik Nagel with Eric, Matt, and Giddles. Back right after this.
Attention. Shameless social media plug.
It's Erik Nagel is on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and reluctantly, Snapchat. So follow, like, and subscribe. Would you kindly?
Hey man, it's Kevin Smith, and if you're not listening to It's Erik Nagel, what are you listening to? Clean out your assholes and your ear holes, man, and put Erik Nagel in both. That sounded way dirtier than I meant it. On with the show. Take it away, Erik.
I got this beef jerky, and the brand is Matador, so I know that it's from a dead bull that was murdered in Spain.
Or it could be made of real matadors.
So I'm hoping.
Welcome back to
taste.
Welcome back to It's Erik Nagel. That is me, Matt OG and Gittles over in the Upside Down. Trevor to my right, and our pal Bryan Johnson of Comic Book Men, and Tell Him Steve Dave is also joining us here for the program. It's great to see you, sir. I haven't seen you in a couple weeks since we last did the Chip Chipperson podcast.
That is fun.
It was fun. That was your first time doing it.
It was my first time doing it, and I'm never I don't know if nervous is the right word. I think more starstruck. Like, I've met some pretty big people, and I normally don't care at all.
Right.
But meeting Chip somehow
it
seems like a huge deal.
I thought you were going to say meeting Eric again.
Every time I meet him.
Nobody says that. Nobody says that at all.
Yeah, it's
Chip
fun,
Chipperson
though.
is a huge ordeal. He is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Because you really have to fight to get in your point of view or your joke.
Yeah, you definitely do. And
as he does, I'm bringing it like this.
Yeah, he talks over you. He won't let you finish a joke. I saw some of the. I'll never watch myself on TV. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
Or anything on video. So I saw that the episode was up, and I just looked at the comments. And one comment I kind of agreed with is like, Cumia being there is priceless.
Oh yeah,
it's so great when he's there now.
Because he knows how to feed into Chip.
He knows how to feed in. He knows how to show complete exasperation once he gets cut off. Yeah, he's really good on that show. I like him a lot.
Well, we only get dealt the hand that we have.
What are you gonna do?
Apparently, the one girl on that show.
You got me instead of Cumia.
Well, apparently, the one girl on the show, she's like the daughter of somebody in Bon Jovi.
Oh yeah, the keyboardist, right?
Yeah.
Something Von Such.
The one with the
Von
curly
Such
hair?
or Brian Von Such. No, it's the blonde-haired girl, right? Gabby?
Yeah, Gabby.
Yeah.
I had no idea who she was, other than I heard she was a comedian or something like that. And then it's like, no. I asked around,
Sure,
like, is
why
she a
not?
comedian? They said, no, she's the daughter of somebody in Bon Jovi.
It's a fluid world. You can just if you say something, that's what you are. So sure, she's a comedian.
Whatever you put in your
yeah, we're professionals.
Yeah.
Whatever you put on your social media profile is what you are for a living.
When I went, not this past year, but the year before, I went on the Impractical Jokers cruise, and I was by the buffet, and these two drunk girls come up to me, and one girl says hello, and the other girl doesn't know who I am, and she says, "Who are you? What do you do?" And the other girl says, "He's a comedian," and I thought, "No, I'm not. Like, Norton's a comedian. CK is a comedian. Like, these are guys who I consider comedians."
They think if you do a comedy-based program that you're automatically a stand-up comedian.
I guess I didn't know what to say though. Like, what do I do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what I am or what I do.
I'm the janitor.
Yeah.
You know our, Big Kev.
Sure.
Big Kev used to have. Here's an old XM story that most people don't know about. So when we were starting at XM in fall of 2004, we're getting the studio built. We're setting up the offices. And one day, somebody from D.C., where XM was based in D.C. at the time, comes up to our facility in New York, and a bunch of paperwork, and said, we got to get official things done, which included, badges and business cards and all these other things. And Kevin was there during that time period helping out. So Kevin takes a form and fills out 4 business cards and gets business cards. They show up, and Steve goes, why does Big Kev have business cards? But he had on his card, so it says Big Kev and whatever, but his business card title, it says freelance adventurer.
Just
That's
ambiguous enough. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Because I think somebody threw the box of cards out. I wish we could have kept a couple of them. But when he would fill out job occupation, he would put freelance adventurer. I think he still does to this day. Because what are you going to question that? It's like, that sounds interesting.
It makes me feel like he's Indiana Jones. I don't know why.
Yeah, you definitely have to clarify with whoever hands you that card. It's like, what exactly does this mean?
Right. But
I clean houses.
So be it.
Yeah, and it's just super lame. Like, if I were to, now that I've been exiled from the TV world, with Comic Book Men getting canceled. What do I put on a business card? Podcaster? Does anything sound lamer than podcaster?
I think in your situation, I would just put
Talent.
Freelance douchebag.
Talent/writer.
Yeah.
Talent?
Yeah, your talent.
Talent/writer.
Yeah, just right there. Maybe not even slash, just talent.
Talent.
Yeah, just go with talent.
Yeah, and then people
You just throw your card down, take your dick out.
But
talent.
if you put talent/writer, and if you get hired to be a talent/writer on another project, that's 2 titles and it entitles you to more pay.
Well, fuck, then
and
I'll write
benefits.
talent/writer/doctor.
Right. and also, if something you wrote becomes something else, you're entitled to it because you were the writer of it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I'd be like, see, I told you.
But talent/writer is not the big like if this was back in the 70s and somebody said music producer on their card and they're just trying to swindle some waitress in a grimy bar saying they came out to see this country singer or jazz musician or whatever, and you're hitting on the phone and it just says music producer, that used to be like, oh my god, that's a big deal. Now it doesn't mean anything when you say it's like everyone's a fucking music producer because they use Fruity Loops and other things to generate all their stuff at home. Everyone's a rapper, everyone's a musician in their own home studios. But if you put talent writer, it's specific yet generic enough that no one's going to question it.
Right.
And it
mostly
looks,
because they've thrown the card away faster than I could hand it to them.
Yeah.
I get business cards.
I
get business cards once in a while, and for the most part, I don't keep them. Are they still a thing? Do people I thought with
business
phones,
cards are still a thing.
Are they?
Yeah, I had a couple. I actually just emptied my wallet. But everywhere I go with Giddles,
I don't have any, but people have asked me if I have some sometimes. I'm like, why would I have a fucking business card? Like, I don't have a business.
Yeah. Like when I go
like,
somewhere,
you know my name, like you know my phone number, like what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
I just introduce
what, you're gonna dox me? What the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
why am I helping you out here?
We all have fake titles when I go out my like this is my entrepreneur friend Giddles. That's how, and they think he's like, oh, he's an entrepreneur.
I am an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
My friends are like, this is my employed friend Brian.
You know what I do though? There's been times like at cons and stuff where both Matt and I have found in our bags or in our pockets, which is even creepier, business cards that I am like, I didn't meet this person. Like I don't remember getting this card or these little things, and they're in my bag. They're in my so that people just put them in there. What I do is I would take those business cards, and if you go to a place that says submit your business card for like a free lunch or something like that, I just drop them all in there. I'm like, good luck. Maybe they're gonna win something.
Yeah, I feel like when you give someone
free car wash,
like you give someone a business card, it means they're gonna contact me. And
right.
I don't want that for the most part.
Yeah.
I talk to enough people already. Now I got to talk to you too. Forget it. No way. I'm not giving you my card.
Did they have anything? Like if somebody contacted you or met you in person at a con or something like that, and they said they wanted to arrange an interview with you guys for Comic Book Men or Tell 'em Steve Dave or just you solo, what do you give them? Like do you handle it directly or did you have like some kind of agent or what have you to make those arrangements for you?
Usually I decide like in the moment if I think it's something I want to do, and then I would either give them like the Tell 'em Steve Dave email or something like that.
Right.
But for the most part, people don't really ask that much because it's always people. Like I stopped doing it at cons. I had to stop because everybody with their YouTube channel and this and that.
Right.
And I know like they're trying to do their own thing, but like you just get tired of it because it's like, so what is this going to go out to 12 people? Like it's just, sorry, but it's just not enough to spend 15 minutes of my time to reach 12 people of like one might care maybe.
Yeah.
That has always been a thorn in, at least in my side, as far as doing anything legitimate. Like for us when we were on satellite radio, a legit medium, and you go to do this, and then you go like at cons to arrange interviews, and we're running late because such and such is talking to the talent already. Where are they from? It's some blog. And they, the way they're recording it is they're using their phone and they're talking to the person like this, like there, or they have something
and it's
just laying
so loud.
Yeah,
there's no way the audio's coming through.
And or they lay in the middle of the table and just like those round table discussions you had to do for Comic Book Men, where sometimes in a round table discussion, for people who don't know, is a way of getting through some of these interviews faster, where it's usually press. And press in the sense of a magazine, a newspaper, maybe somebody who's writing articles online. They just have the conversation recorded because they'll transcribe it. They're not using the audio for much more than taking the information and repurposing it in their writing. But when you have the people that are doing an audio-based medium or a video-based medium, and they just put the thing down in the center of the table. It's like, you've already lost. You've already wasted this person's time because you're not doing a service to yourself or the person you're talking to by doing that. And we always had to deal with that nonsense where some guy, look, I get it if you have the little adapter on your phone now with the mics because the phones can do that. And you see a lot of legitimate news people when they're out there, they're doing it like that, and that's fine. But when you have the people that are just using the basic recorder on their phone with no microphone and holding it in the center between them, I'm like, unless you're transcribing this is going to sound like shit, and no one's going to listen to this thing. And it causes us so many problems because sometimes there's not enough room here. Look at half the bloggers that and these YouTube people that are set up in these conference rooms, and you're like, all of this is shit. Nobody's watching it.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, at Comic-Con, we did get saved that one time because you gave me the recorder with the memory card that was full, and it didn't work. And I was able to pull out my phone and use the recorder on it to get the interview. And it actually didn't come out too bad. But, yeah, you got a lot of the background noise. Like, it's just that white noise of...
you get ambiance is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure at those round tables, 10 people didn't run out of card space all at once. Like that's just their MO. That's the way they operate.
Right.
The first person to ask the question, everyone's like, "Oh, God damn it, that was my question, the most obvious one."
Yeah, all nice people though at those. I never minded the round tables there.
No, they're not bad.
They're all like
they're
nice
just
people.
Not good for when we do an audio medium where they're like, "Oh, we can just set you up," and I'd have to tell them. I said, "I can't do that." Well, why not? I said, the real reason and my reason. My reason is it's going to sound like shit on our show where other people are asking the person questions and you're barely hearing them because they're too off mic. I can't set everything up to get the answers with the person, right? Number two, I mean, that's how it's going to sound on the air. To me, it's like, I don't want to waste my time or their time sitting at a round table where maybe I can get one question in because that sounds horrible on the radio. So I would tell the publicist, all right, then I'm going to have to pass them because this is going on the radio and I can't air these other people without their permission. I can't do all this other stuff, and it's just going to sound awful, and I don't want to do that to the person. Usually then they go, okay, hang on, let me see what we can do. And then they wind up putting us at our own table to talk to people.
Right.
Well, how many people at those roundtables are just taking it to like write articles for blogs where they're not using the audio, they're just using it for the questions, and they could be like,
pretty much
asked
all
about
of them.
this.
They are all of them, except you get some dumb bloggers that come in there and thinking they're getting an exclusive to put up on their podcast or something. But a lot of them, like our pal Christy, she would sit at roundtables and with her recorder because she's a journalist. And she does film reviews and things of that nature. And she would put it down there because she could transcribe the conversations. She could say, one person asked this question, one person asked this question, to which the person responded, whatever. It works in a print medium. It doesn't work anywhere else. So a lot of those people are doing legitimate articles or blog posts or whatever for sometimes credible outlets. So it's worth their time to do it that way. But for us, we were like either on the TV line or we had to get a separate table to do all the interviews. You've done them with us a few times at different conventions. We had everybody had a mic. It was a full setup at the table. Everyone could be heard. That's the way you're supposed to do it.
You going to San Diego this year?
Unfortunately, no. And I've been dreading July coming because I'm starting to see more and more of the stuff show up on social media. Companies doing their exclusive reveals or panels being announced, and like Conan started his own ConanCon Instagram account where they're showing you all the behind the scenes things of what they're doing.
The Demolition Man Taco Bell experience. Yeah. That's what I want.
This is textbook irony. After never going to the con while we were on Comic Book Men, as soon as they cancel, Ming and I are going to San Diego.
You're doing San Diego this year.
Nice.
Yeah, we have a little booth there. We're doing a show at some place that I cannot remember right now. We're the IMDb boat. We're gonna hang out on there. So
that's been a lot of fun.
Has it?
And I'll tell you why. Because Kevin was nice enough for the last 2 years since they started doing it. We'd get invitations to go on the IMDb boat, and it's a lot of fun. Kevin goes out and does interviews for IMDb for what they're doing at the con. Last year it was him and his daughter. They were out. She was like a field reporter going out on the street talking to people. And the parties itself, it's a 3-tier yacht and it's huge. And the top tier is where it's the open bar. They do the what is it called? The nitrogen ice cream or something?
a freeze nitrogen where they like get it to minus like 200 degrees. It's a fucking gimmick.
It's almost Dippin' Dots,
Dippin' Dots.
but like they have the tanks. It looks like an explosive. Like what is this thing? And they have it looks like a charcoal circle kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
So it's so freezing cold. They pour the cream onto it and it freezes instantly while it's on there. So it looks like just a big circle. They take it and scrape it, and it rolls up into ice cream.
Yeah, the anti-griddle. Is that what it's called?
These are the same people who are watching World Cup.
Right, yeah. So they have the ice cream bar. They have all this cool stuff going on. The second tier of the boat is like a museum. They had all these movie props and everything there, which is really cool.
I had an idea last year because there's the IMDb boat, and then there's the CW yacht, and then there's this one and that
one. The TBS boat is usually parked right next to the IMDb one, so Brian Quinn jumps from both. Like he's over in here and then runs over to IMDb and open bar everywhere. Why not?
Yeah, I said because they were like, "Can you do something for Comic Book Men for the at San Diego?" And I said, "Can we get me and Ming, because it was only Ming and I were going to go? Can we get like a little rowboat, and we'll have A-listers come into the rowboat and we'll row out next to the yachts and we'll interview them like that?"
That's pretty good.
No, you cannot. No. I'm like, what the fuck? They're like, oh, well, the security is like really tight there, so you can't do it. And then Q tells me that they're setting off fireworks and all kinds of shit's going on down there. Like,
yeah.
So I think it was just another case of them being like, nah, we don't want you here.
Well, here's the fun thing you could have done if you had the little dinghies outside the yachts, where the yachts are stationed next to the convention center. You go right. It's very short. Right across the little channel there is Joe's Crab Shack.
Okay.
And it's on an island. Like you have to take either this walk bridge or you can take the boats over there. It's an island that has Joe's Crab Shack and a little park. That's it. And that place is constantly mobbed. So if you were having a good time and you feel like you need some crab legs, you just hop in the dinghy and go right over there and eat at Joe's Crab Shack.
What a time it would have been.
So is this coming out of pocket, or do you have a promoter or something bringing you out there?
Oh, no, Ming set it up.
Okay.
Yeah, usually Ming just sets stuff up, or my former manager would do it, but she sucks, so. Now it's mostly Ming. The dude hustles. Hustles so much, I found out just recently that he went to Emerald City Comic Con, not this past year, but the year before, as a volunteer. That's how badly he wanted to go. Damn. I'm like, he should be committed. I'm not even kidding around. He needs like psychiatric evaluation.
You should try to double dip on this since you're going to go. If you can get
talent/writer, you mean?
Yes.
Something like that?
You should get on the press list for when they start soliciting for interviews. You should do that, and you can set them up for Tell 'em Steve Dave.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, it's still time.
Q will be out there, too.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's going to be
some legitimacy.
Yeah, so if you can sit there and like, hey, we're looking to talk to the new Doctor Who, the female Doctor Who. I'm with Brian Quinn and myself and all that. And they'll write back to you, and they're like, yeah, they'll do something with it.
Okay, so we can get press badges? Oh, I'm definitely putting it in like a fedora, man. Or like
just says press.
You're going to dress like Les Nessman?
I can't wait. Yeah.
Well, have fun.
That
out
idea
there.
only just cost Eric $20. You just got to pay him $25 for that idea that he gave.
We'll have fun out there
25?
because I really wish we were going this year, but
I've been a few times. It's
an experience.
Yeah, it's big. It's really big and crowded.
And if you got a hotel right next to the convention center, you're set. Mm-hmm. It's when you have it's only like 10 blocks away, then it's still a nightmare. Especially if you're press and you're going to do interviews, and it's like, okay, your first interview is going to be at 9 a.m. and then the next interview is at 9:15. Okay, well, one's in the one hotel here, and then you got to cross over the highway and the light rail to get to the Hard Rock over here. So you're constantly running back and forth. But if you have the one hotel that connects right to the convention center, you just get up whatever you want and walk downstairs, and there you are.
That's not the way it's going to be for me.
No.
He's at the Days Inn about 25 miles back.
The one that's right next to the Jack in the Box.
Yes.
Exactly. You guys have been there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
ever a schmuck.
Let's talk about what happened with AMC then. So you did 6 seasons of Comic Book Men. 7 seasons of Comic Book Men. And I know when we last talked, not at the Funko Pop event at the Secret Stash, but before that you were saying that you guys had some ideas for the next season and guests that you wanted to try to invite to come in there. And then out of nowhere, because you guys did the upfronts too, or Kevin did the upfronts.
Kev did the upfronts. Evidently, that was some sort of communication error. Like this is what they said: marketing hadn't told the above the line people, so nobody gave Kev the message that like you don't need to do this. But he not only did he do it once, he did it twice.
Right.
And I think the second one was after the heart attack. I think. But it was that there were
that's a guy with hustle.
Several things. Yeah. Right. Several things that led us to believe, because I really, like, you question it every time, like, because they never tell you until, like, April or May if we're going to do it again. So you spend, from the time the cameras go dark until that announcement, wondering if you're going to do it again. So this time around was the one time that even Walt Flanagan, the biggest pessimist on earth, was just like, oh, yeah, I guess we'll probably do it again. And then they're like, oh, no, you won't. You know, and they said creatively they really wanted to do it, but fiscally it just didn't make sense.
I can't imagine your show being expensive.
It wasn't expensive.
I just think they kept putting you at shitty time slots.
We had a pretty crappy time slot, but I feel like we kind of like rose and fell with this success and the eventual decline of Walking Dead. You know, like we got good ratings when it was popular, but as it dropped off and people started disliking it,
right?
You know, our ratings went down as well. They could have put us somewhere other than 1 a.m. And people always ask, like, why? And I'm like, I don't know. Why is it on Netflix? I don't know. Like, they don't tell us.
They're giving you, like, the Futurama treatment where they would move it around every week and then people weren't watching it. And then they're like, oh, well, this show's not getting good ratings. Like, well, yeah, but you're changing the time slot all the time. Like,
I never knew when
people to follow it.
Yeah,
right? Oh, yeah. And even if you do know what time it is, it's like, it's so late that you're going to DVR it. Like, no, most people are not going to want to. I was in a hotel this past weekend for the con. I tried to watch regular TV with the commercials and shit. I can't do it.
Yeah,
it's horrible.
I was trying to watch Forensic Files. I'm like, holy shit! Every 2 minutes, it's a 5-minute commercial for some medication I'll probably need in 10 years, but I don't want to hear about it now. You know, it's all like old people dancing on the beach or some other bullshit.
If you ever watch, not that you would, but if you ever watch the style of programming that E does, the E Network, you know how the Kardashian show is? It's a little bit of that. It cuts to commercial. A little bit of that cuts. Every show on there is shot like the Kardashian show now, like the total divas that they do with the WWE.
You get like 2 minutes and then...
Well, I'll watch that or things along those lines. It'll start off like, here's the first segment. You get a few minutes of it.
I'm just enjoying how unprofessional you are by sucking on mints while you're talking.
I know.
No one's paying me. I don't care.
It's amazing.
He'll be drinking his giant, like, 40-gallon iced tea the whole time, just slurping on it.
We're very relaxed here.
Yeah.
So you'd watch it, you get a chunk, maybe 5 minutes, right? And then it goes to commercial. And then the next segment is a little bit shorter, and the commercials get a little bit longer. So it's like a graph where you start off with the triangle being big here, and it slopes down to this little spot, and then it starts off with the ads here a little, and then it gets really big. So as the show's going on, you're getting less and less show and more commercials. So they'd come back from break, recap what was in the last segment that you just saw, do 30 more seconds, and then go to break again. And now you've got 4 to 5 minutes of commercials before it comes back again. By the end of the show, it's a 10-second teaser for the next week. And like, what did I just watch?
Yeah. Well, if you're watching the Kardashians, that's exactly what you deserve.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you were expecting from that.
I wasn't watching the Kardashians. I was watching Total Divas, the WWE show. It's all shot the same as the Kardashian shows. A lot of these shows are all shot in that same format. Like, oh, it works for that program. Every other show has to be shot the same exact way.
Well, it also depends on the network. Like, I worked, I edited reality TV shows for like 12 years. And like, when I first started, an hour-long TV show would be 44 minutes and 45 seconds of TV, and the rest was all commercials. And by the time I left, it was 40 minutes and 15 seconds. So like, they got an extra 4 minutes of trailers within that. But I remember like having to edit like an act 6 where I'm like, okay, I got to get the resolution of this whole scene together and all this stuff. And I'm like, how much time do I have? They're like, you have about 30 seconds to tie this whole story together. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, this is stupid. Yeah, and it's just because they wanted to keep putting in more commercials. Like, that's why I stopped, watching Walking Dead live on TV, because the commercials would just completely destroy the pacing of it. And I even see people on Twitter now being like, I thought the season was shit, but I watched it without commercials and it's actually pretty good. Because they're interrupting everything, trying to get every little dollar out of the the corporate sponsors.
And even in that time that they shrink the show down to, within that time they shrink the show again, because every segment you come back is a recap of what you saw last segment. it stops dramatically, and then it says still to come, and then it shows you more stuff coming within the show. So the heads and tails of that particular segment are recaps. So you just shrunk the programming even more.
And the thing is, like, people who live overseas actually get much better versions of our TV shows because when you're editing them, they don't have as many commercial breaks. So we have a lot of times where, like Act 3, we have to do a snap-in of 2 minutes and 30 seconds because they don't have 2 minutes and 30 seconds of commercials. So we had to put extra scenes in there. So we put, like, extra scenes, extra, footage that people didn't see, and the shows are much better.
And some of their programming doesn't even take commercials. That's why they started. It's like starting at 9:05. It's like, why is it starting at 9:05? Because it's the commercials from the last programming. So it'll go from 9:05 to 9:25. And then from 25 to 35 is where they do their news teases, their channel highlights, whatever, their spots. But you get a full run of the show.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'd rather start the show a little bit later and get the full run rather than having a million commercials interrupting the pacing of what you're doing. Like, I'll watch a 30-minute chunk of stuff at an off time live. I'll watch it because there's no commercials. And then it's like, all right, so the next 10 minutes will be commercials before the next show starts. Fine with me. I wish we would adopt that format here.
Yeah, I think that if you're like, hey man, I'm a storyteller, I want to tell a story, the avenue for you is like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, one of these places that like
anything else, yeah,
just anything other than network television.
Yeah, there was
YouTube. Just put out your own stuff on YouTube. It's going to be better without commercials.
Holy shit, you recommended Cobra Kai, so good,
wasn't it? It's.
I did not think I would love it as much as I did.
They didn't try to make it better than it was. They're like, this is the vibe of its cheesiness. It's a bit douchey. This is what the experience of watching the Karate Kid movies are. We're gonna keep it in the same world and just keep it. Like, we're not gonna build on it. We're just gonna. It's progressing as time goes on, but it's still gonna have that same feel.
Yeah, it was like Johnny was in a coma. Then just came out and had no idea what was going on around him. Like he had there were a couple things where like you're like, okay, so he's been around, he knows about,
because he wasn't in the second and the third movie.
Yeah, but his like the spectrum joke like killed me when he the kid's like, I think I'm on the spectrum. He's like, well, get off it pronto. Like he doesn't know anything. But God damn, if that wasn't like the last shot with the master, I forget his name, Johnny's master.
Starts with a K. Damn it.
The old Cobra Kai dude. Him standing in the silhouette.
Spoilers for anyone who didn't see it.
For so long.
I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, I forgot you have to say spoiler. What is the window for spoilers? Like my friend Walt, he would watch The Office on DVD, and it's like he's behind by 2 years. It's like, so I can't talk like.
No.
Spoilers have to have a shelf life, right? What is it?
For me, it's like a week and a half.
Right. If you're not on
TV
top
show,
of it
on
then.
TV shows, like week and a half movie, depending on how big the release is, maybe I'll wait a little longer. But like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't even give a shit. I'll just be like, oh, this happened. Fuck it.
Yeah. And unless it's
Creasy.
unless it's like the crying game.
That was
or
the guy's
something.
name.
It's
Martin
not that
Koch
big a
was
deal.
Creasy.
Yeah.
Yeah, his reveal at the end, I was like, oh.
It was so long too. Like how long they kept him in silhouette. Like my girl's 24, so we're watching this together. Like I have to. It is nonstop me being like, this is what this means. This is what this means. Because she has no idea about like 60s, 70s, 80s
Well,
pop culture.
I watched all 3 movies before starting the YouTube series because I was just like, you know what? I haven't seen those movies in a long time. Let me just do a refresher of it.
Yeah.
And I did like, too, they did a bit of the Back to the Future thing in the second movie where they did alternate shots. So you saw how the movie ended in the first one, right? In the second one, the movie starts with them ending the first one where he walks out to the parking lot with the trophy and where Creasy attacks Johnny and beats him up, and then Miyagi has to beat him up, and you see sort of that in the first movie, but in the second movie it's other shots, so it's like another take. So when they come back to it, it's like, oh, they saved the footage, because that's what they did in the Back to the Future too. You'd see the stuff from the first, but they were alternate takes.
Yeah, like Johnny's story, and again, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it. I guess I got to say that.
Fuck him at this point.
I've never seen one Karate Kid movie.
When you see what his home life was like,
right,
you're like, okay, I get it. And then when at the end, even though he's won, he does not feel like he's won.
No,
and you're just like, oh my god, this dude cannot catch a break. He was abused as a child. He was emotionally abused as a child.
Right. Because if that was his stepdad too,
That
right?
was his stepfather,
the wealthy
yeah.
millionaire. Yeah,
Ed Asner, he was great.
He's always good as a crotchety old man. But did you find watching that series that you were toggling back and forth between Johnny and Daniel as being good and bad?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, because you're like, oh, he's still such a scumbag. Oh, well, no, he's leaning back. He's growing. He's becoming a good guy. Nope, now he's back to a shithead. And then you watch Daniel, and you're like, oh, there's Daniel. Wow, he's really a shit. Oh, now he's trying to do the right thing by his daughter, but he's still a douchebag.
I wonder if they chose car salesmen on purpose. They must, because it's
Just to make it sleazy.
It's such a smart show he's just like a slick, sleazy car salesman. The one thing throughout the show that I'm like, oh my God, shut your fucking mouth, is his wife. His wife, if you watch that show, never stops telling him why he's wrong, never stops pointing things out, never stops dropping these bon mots or these witticisms and then leaving the room.
Fights with his mom.
She is easily the most irritating character, more irritating than the other son with the long hair who added nothing to the series. Nothing.
Daniel's son, the one who just plays video games all the time?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm like, why is this?
He's just
why
there.
is this kid here?
Yeah.
Is his name Daniel's son?
Oh.
Or Daniel's son?
Very clever wordplay.
He's so proud of himself.
I didn't break up. You guys heard that, right?
So I don't know if that's a credit to her acting skills or if that's just who she is. But do you know that the lady who played his wife? Not that you would watch the show, but she plays occasionally Sheldon's sister on Big Bang Theory. She's his twin sister.
I've never seen
and
an
she
episode
has
of
this
Big
heavy Texas twang on her voice whenever she shows up, and she's doing the same thing, telling Sheldon.
Oh, that's her thing?
I guess it's her thing, where she keeps pointing out that everything he does wrong. And
I would be so annoyed if that was my mother. I'd be like, you know what? Fuck you. Enough with your holier than thou, sanctimonious.
We are
bullshit.
in church, Brian. You do not talk to me like that.
Yeah. Oh yes, I do.
So AMC, they're officially done. It's not like it's on hiatus. It's completely done, right?
No, they didn't give us the hard wick. They're like, you're out.
Okay, so there is a chance that is AMC, they had the rights to it, but were they producing it, or is there a company that has the production
There was
rights to
another company that was producing it, but I believe they own the library, AMC.
Okay.
And I know that there are meetings going on to at least let the library be seen and then possibly make new shows.
Because we've
why
talked
not?
about this. Once it's that is the kind of show that a lot of people didn't know about, but would love the second they saw it. So if that got the chance to go on Netflix or Prime and got on the front page, people would be like, "What's Comic Book Men?" And then you'd see a whole new spike of the fan base going up, and they're like, "Well, I love this show," and they might renew interest to either bring you back as specials for AMC or for Netflix or some other network wants to pick it up.
But even if we didn't make anything new, if it were up on Netflix, it's then we're doing cons for years from now, because there's no differentiation between AMC or Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Netflix probably seems more like TV than AMC does to most people, because when we're on AMC, it's not even Sunday night; it's Monday morning we're on most of the time.
Right.
So, I think people watching Netflix are just like YouTube. It's this is TV. This is how I watch TV now. So there's no reason that we couldn't just keep doing cons and shit. I'd like to do more shows because we had ideas to do more fun stuff, but what are you going to do?
Oh, well.
It was a pretty long run.
Well,
for something we never dreamed would ever happen to begin with.
Yeah. There can still be an afterlife, like we said, if it goes on another platform. But in the wake of that, it also kind of forced your hand with you and the guys from Tell 'em Steve Dave to kind of up the ante of what you guys have been doing with the podcast. So now you're venturing into more content from the guys from Tell 'em Steve Dave with a Patreon now.
Yeah, something that we had talked about a while ago, but I didn't do enough research into it. I thought it was essentially just asking people for money, kind of like a GoFundMe, and I didn't want to. I was like, we wouldn't do that. We don't want to do that. So that's why we made merchandise and made video productions and shit like that. And then I found out it's you offer people extra stuff. So the timing of the cancellation, and then we're like, well, we could do Patreon. It made sense in the moment, because there's no way I'm not like Matt. I would say the wrong thing in the interview, so I would never even get the job.
Yeah.
I'm not cut out for any kind of job where you have to have accountability, you might hurt another person's feelings. unless it's on purpose, like Mike or Ming, you know.
Well, you set that up too. Kev put out a special edition of Smodcast where you were all on, like you would do the wraparounds and the introduction for Comic Book Men, and you had mentioned in that particular episode is that because he said, "What's next for you?" And you said it's like, I don't know because I can't see myself working another job. I'm just not that guy who can work for other people like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so if it wasn't Patreon, which has gone really well, it's been up a little bit over a week and a half, and we've got like 4,500 people right now in,
Jesus.
which is, we're coming after that Chapo Trap House.
Nice.
Thing. I didn't know what it was. I looked it up, and I'm like, so wait a second, it's a podcast that talks about political stuff? But it must be something else because that many people like it. And I guess I'm not sure how often it is, but they pay $5 a month. That's the only tier. We wanted to do more like we're doing some extra audio podcasts. We're creating some extra merchandise, and we're doing what I really want to do, which are like produced videos.
Wow.
So yeah,
I'm looking at the time that we're recording this and whatever. By the way, like the colonial artwork.
Oh, you
That's
like that?
very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, where you're playing the drums and playing the fife as the colonists are heading into battle for the revolution. You're at 4,600 Patreons.
That's not too bad for a week and a half.
Yeah, not bad at
Seems
all.
pretty good.
Yeah, our listeners are very solid, and the number of times I hear like it helps me either like through a depression or through a divorce or even through the day because my job sucks.
Right.
It reminds me of like when I was young and I would listen to Stern, you know, like if I was at work, I used to move. I didn't even work in the main section of Sears with the furniture. I moved like back when they had a dented and damaged section, and it was only me. So I would have to unload all this shit like sleeper sofas and refrigerators by myself into this damaged area. And I had a Walkman at the time, and I would listen to Stern, and I would tape it sometimes so I could listen to it all day. And the guy was like, hey, I called you before. You can't wear headphones. And I said, if I don't wear headphones, I got to leave right now. I said, this is a mind-numbing job. I can't do it and not have something to listen to. So I was like, all right, fine, because I guess you don't want to look for someone new. So I know what it feels like to go to something because everything else sucks.
Right.
And you just want to, like, leave for a while. So,
I mean, there's plenty of jobs out there where, go to a mechanic and see if they don't have the radio on.
Sure.
In the garage, whether it's music or they're listening to a ball game or sports talk or something. Because they don't want to do those jobs. They're good at it, but they don't want to do it. So they have the radio to help them get through the day and their lives. But
the mildest distraction can mean a lot.
It does. I can't. Trevor sees this. My wife sees this. I walk around with my headphones on all the time.
Yeah.
I have my
God, it's so annoying.
My Bluetooth. I don't even know over here. My Bluetooth headphones, where even the simplest things, I got to throw the headphones on, and I'll catch up on a podcast, or if something pops up on Audible, for a book to download. If you go to the supermarket, if I go shopping any kind, if I'm driving around, I have to have something on at all times.
If I go to the store or like I go like anytime I'm in public, I generally try to wear like I have those wireless Bluetooth like the big can headphones because then people don't bother you.
Yeah,
they don't talk to you for no reason. They don't solicit money or whatever. It's just like you're in your own world all the time, which I kind of like.
Until you cross the street and didn't see the car coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's only where some guy almost got nailed on my way to work this morning. I was watching him cross the street because it's really easy to accidentally almost kill someone in New York City because if someone's looking down at their phone and you just start to walk, they'll just walk into the intersection without looking because they see you going. So you could just like pretend to walk and like almost kill people all day. But like this guy was walking and he had his earbuds in and just like really slow while the light hadn't changed yet, and a bus like missed him by like 3 feet. It was crazy.
Yeah, if you go to Live Leak, you can see any number of videos where someone is crossing the street with and then it's like suddenly they're under a bus.
Oh. Yeah.
My favorites are the one where it's like surveillance footage from a convenience store, and somebody just happens to be walking past to the door, and right as they pass the door, a car plows through the front of the window of the business, or they just happen to be in the parking lot, and then off in the distance something flips off a highway and starts rolling down into the parking lot. You're like, where did that come from?
Yeah,
that could have been me.
It almost always happens in China too. Now I know this is a stereotype that Asian drivers are bad, so I don't know if it's
no, they're
Asian
terrible
drivers or it's just there's so many people there. But I saw one today where like this car it pulls out into the road and just stops, and there's a goddamn cement mixer coming down the street. He hits the wheel, the whole thing goes sideways. He can't control it, flips over, crushes the whole truck. Oh. And I'm like, I want to know who the driver was, and what the fuck were you thinking?
I want to know how they got the footage from the truck being crushed by.
It's just like it's off of some store.
Oh,
or
it's
some
not like
bridge.
a dash cam.
Yeah. Oh no, it wasn't a dash cam.
Well,
It was kind of up high.
If you want something interesting, look up Russian dash cams.
Oh, they're the best.
Oh yeah, those are great.
Yeah,
they're the best.
You're just constantly
So
seeing tailgating, and then somebody stops at a light, and the other guy didn't stop and plows right through. Four-way intersections where they just ignore whoever has the right of way.
I got a dash cam like 5 months ago. Nothing happens.
No content for you?
No, zero. Not one thing. Unless it's like me yelling at someone. Like then you can only hear the audio, kind of like me yelling at someone for being an asshole.
I love the train footage from like India.
Oh, all those people on it,
where they're packing everybody onto the trains.
I'm like, how do you get off?
And that they're high. There's videos where the people were so desperate or sneaking onto the train that they're on the roof of the train cars. And,
that's just like normal commuting.
And then not realizing that they're hitting something with a low overpass or a tunnel, and you either see them jumping off or some not paying attention, and bloosh, it's a red streak down the car as it comes out the other end of the tunnel.
A lot to look up this morning.
Yeah, there's a lot to keep busy.
Wow.
It used to be show content for O&A because Norton would come in the morning. And he was like, I forgot what Live Leak used to be, but he'd talk about beheading videos all the time. We're like, why are you watching this stuff? And he's laughing. And then he points off and he's like, oh, there's this one video about this guy trying to hop on the top of a train and he touches like their third rail as a cable. Oh. And he's like, you got to hear the sound that it makes. And it sounds like when they used to fire one of those, those deep cannons that the military has, where it shoots 1 million rounds at once, so it goes like that. So the guy would be on top of the train, touch the thing, and you just hear this ungodly bassy electronic noise, and then it's like a lightning flash, and then the stiff body just kind of falls off like a bird hitting a window. And this is what we used to start the show off at 6 a.m.
It's the best watching that kind of stuff.
It is.
I watch so many and sent so many.
Not the beheading videos. The other stuff.
No, I don't like I don't like to watch beheading videos. I don't mind watching.
I don't even like the bombing videos. Like I know some people pass those around in the guise of news.
Sounds terrible.
Oh wait. So the people are running? You mean those like when the people are running?
Or you'll just see surveillance footage of like here's a corner of a town somewhere. All of a sudden, and he's like they'll do that thing where they pause the video and then they kind of gray out the rest of the video, but it's highlighted to show the one person. To focus, and then it comes back in, it walks in there, and you give it a few minutes, all of a sudden all the windows shoot out of the building.
Yeah, that person's like 3 blocks down.
Yeah.
Or at least parts of them.
Or walked into the place and never came back out when the thing happened.
Yeah. I don't like
those.
The beheadings. I don't like that kind of stuff.
Skittles doesn't like them either.
But people in accidents and stuff I can deal with if they're dying in accidents. Yeah. I can't deal with people getting hurt though. Like people getting bones broken or like because like that person the cement truck overturned on them. It's over for them.
Right.
But if somebody like gets hurt and they're like, "Oh my god, now they're paralyzed," you're like, "Holy shit, that's just the beginning of
what
horror
about the
for
videos?
them.
I can't watch like any of the skate videos where someone falls down and then they get up and their arm is like the letter C. And I can't watch those. Like those are the worst. Like,
I can't watch that, but I can watch the surveillance or people's cell phone videos when people are not looking and their head gets dinged by the train, or they weren't paying attention as they're trying to cross the walk and then get clipped as the train.
Yeah, like stupidity doesn't garner a lot of sympathy.
No, but
oh, my leg just hurts hearing all these stories because I slipped at a concert and my ankle just did 90 degrees and just snapped everything, and it kind of just dangled there.
Way to bring the show down, Trevor.
Who are you going to say?
I was watching Slipknot and I slipped, and
wow.
Not.
Thank you.
Was it at the beginning or the end?
The first song.
Oh, wow.
Right at the beginning.
The first note.
Come on, guys, let's get a pit. Oh, God,
exactly.
no.
That's exactly what happened.
We need an ambulance.
The show just started. I was just walking down a hill, and that was it. It was muddy. Hey, you're going to the PNC. Have fun.
I will. I've been there many times. Never had that.
So have I.
So back to the Patreon for Tell 'em Steve, Dave. So because we didn't get to that, what's the content that they're providing with the new Patreon here?
We have a whole bunch of bonus episodes that we've done throughout the years. Like every year we do a Christmas episode. We do we've done just a whole bunch of stuff like Adam and Eve when they were a sponsor, Audible when they were a sponsor, that kind of stuff. So there was like 40 hours worth of bonus pods that you get just for signing up for $5. And then the new stuff that we're creating is like just me, Walt, and Q doing regular Tell 'em Steve Dave stuff, and like sort of anthology things that like never made it because I cut them for time. We have Puck Nuts, which is a hockey podcast with Ming, who's was on the show, our other buddy Sunday Jeff, me, and Walt. And that's the most misleading one because I don't like sports, so all I do is try to derail the sports talk the entire time or bring stuff up
I
about
love how your job is you working in places where you don't know the things of where you're working. Because look, here's a spoiler for you: he's not a comic book guy.
Yeah.
He worked for comic book guy, but he's not the comic book guy like Mike and Ming and Walt. But Bryan was there for the color commentary, and he's very good at it. So now we're finding out with Puck Nuts, he's doing a sports podcast where he doesn't like sports.
Yeah, I don't like sports at all. Like on one of the episodes, there was a train car full of excrement that came from New York, and it was parked in Alabama.
Is this one of those videos?
It could be.
Yeah.
I wish. But Alabama?
Yeah,
no,
it's down in Alabama.
It was in Alabama.
It was New York shit.
So I Googled it. I found the nearest sports team, which was like some minor league baseball team, so I could somehow attach this train car full of shit to
Please
sports.
Please be the Mudheads. Please call them the Mudheads.
It was something. I can't remember what it was now, but it was a good enough name that I was like, wow, that works. And then I get to talk about a train car full of shit because that's what I find interesting, not hockey shit. I don't care about that. Walt got mad at me though. Like I brought up Tom Brady because he idolized Tom Brady, and I brought up his nonsense with the straw, ban the straw thing because a turtle had a straw in his nose. And my point being that like if Tom Brady cares so much, then why is he flying around on private jets? Because he lost the Super Bowl. Like, oh, Tom Brady, you're so sad you can't fly commercial. Oh, I didn't mean your Super Bowl. I'm going to take a private jet home now. Fuck the turtles. Like, and I don't like to see a turtle with a straw in his nose. I definitely don't.
I want you to overdub all the Tom Brady videos for ESPN.
But it's just the hypocrisy of any celebrity being like, do like I say, because they have a lot of sway with people, obviously. And it's like, well, do as you say, but what about this and this? It's like, so straws are close to your heart, probably because Gisele Bündchen was like, straws better be close to your heart.
Yeah, probably.
Gotta say, Tom Brady won me back with the ass-eating comment on with the hippo meme. That I kind of was like, all right.
Once he made out with his son, I was
not
over
so bad.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, you know what? Making out with his son lost me too, but then he won me back with like, it just humanizes him a little bit, you know?
Does it?
Eating ass? Sure.
Oh, that one, yeah. But
yeah. Oh, no, kissing the son? No,
Yeah.
not at all. Not at all. In fact, that dehumanizes his son,
Yeah,
I
a
think.
little bit there. And the kid knew it was coming too. Like,
No.
Seems Tom's friends with Uncle Paul.
Yeah, right? We also have, there's a week, because we have 4 different slots. We do, another one is going to be like Space Monkeys. That's something I just do with Quinn. So sometimes we have people on, like we had Joe Gatto on.
Wasn't that a band,
We got,
Space Monkeys?
Could have been. We got it from Fight Club.
Oh, okay.
So we do that.
Yeah,
We're doing
yeah.
videos of Walt has this character, the Baron, who's kind of like Svengoolie a little bit. Q and I have started doing these guys called the Pinball Twins, which is
They're not to be messed with.
no, not at all. They're hip hop pinball players, a force to be reckoned with. Just something that Q and I were bored one day, and we were like, hey, we should do this, and then you just do it.
Why not?
And it's kind of fun. So we're doing a lot of that kind of stuff. Like it just gives us the ability to create more stuff that we wanted to do anyway, and obviously now we got the time, so why
There you
not?
go.
Yeah, why not?
Well, go to patreon.com/tellemsteve-dave, all one word, to subscribe to their to all this new stuff that they're doing with Tell 'em Steve Dave and help them out since Comic Book Men is gone. They got to find other ways to do things, and this is what they're doing.
We're gonna have
We may explore the Patreon thing at some point.
It's kind of cool. Yeah, it seems to be like some people like, because I went through a lot of people's Patreons to see like what they offered and if we could offer something comparable. And there's definitely a fine line between too little and too much. You know, some people give too much, and then people are like, I can't keep up with all this shit. So it's sort of finding that sweet
too
spot.
much is wait a minute. Too much meaning the content they're providing, or too much meaning the tier system?
Too much meaning the content they're providing. It's just there's not enough hours in the day.
Right. Okay.
Like I got to listen to Jim and Sam. I got to listen to Kumia. I got too much stuff to listen to already.
Have to listen to them.
I don't have to, but you know, I want to.
But yeah, no, I understand what you're saying because, like, for a cosplayer, especially a female cosplayer, it seems to be a gold mine because they can post their and they can do their public shoots on their social media, but then they can do private shoots or specialty shoots for their Patreon that you're paying for. But they have all these different tiers where, like, if you pay $5 a month, you get to see photos on our private Instagram. Like, they set up a private Instagram. And then $10 a month, you'll get a signed poster from the person. If you spend $20, you get the digital version of the poster, not the signed. Like, they go back and forth. Either you get the digital copies or the actual physical copies. Like, and by the time it's like they're up to a $500 tier, you're like, how the hell? And like, but they can provide that kind of content. If you're doing podcasts, or even if you're a YouTuber, if you're doing video, you can't provide that many layers of content for what you're doing unless you're going to do something on a daily basis. And doing stuff on a daily basis sometimes isn't the best content.
No, it's not the best content. It's not the best idea. Patreon wanted us to do higher tiers, and I'm not against it, but I'm like, I don't know what else to offer people that wouldn't take up their time. I don't think they want signed pictures of us like the cosplayers and shit, you know? I think like some of those higher tiers, it's nudies and stuff like that.
Something like that.
I can't even begin to conceive of someone's mindset that would pay that much for a nudie of this person when it's like, well, why don't I just go online and see a billion people naked? Like, I feel like everyone on Earth now is naked on the internet.
Dude, wait for someone else to subscribe to it and get the picture and then post it online and then just get their picture that they paid for.
And then you see those like on 4chan or something, and those cosplayers are getting pissed. It's like, I put up the private thing, and some guy did exactly what Gittles said. They took the whole library and just posted it on 4chan, so it's all free.
Why do you think they do that?
Because they're dicks.
They're dicks.
It's just to be an asshole?
To be an asshole. Like, put it in something that relates more to our world. Rich Voss just had a roast that came out.
Oh yeah,
it was shot last year.
I torrented it immediately.
Like everybody did.
No, I bought it. I loved it.
I did
Joe
too.
DeRosa was so fucking good. Dude, I was crying
Those
at DeRosa's
words have never
set.
been said before.
I was crying at his set. It was so goddamn funny.
The case in point, the roast, right? They had a rental version that you could do, or you could buy it through the was it Vimeo, right? The Vimeo service. Yeah. So you can own it through Vimeo and what have you. Somebody took it, ripped it, and posted it on YouTube. It got ripped down in like an hour or something, but it posted on YouTube and said, "We're not paying for this stuff. Here you go, everybody. It's free." And it's like, that person is just being a deliberate asshole.
Yeah, like, why would you do that to Voss? I don't understand. Like,
why
unless
you
have a real personal vendetta.
Why would you? But even still, like, why would you do that to anybody that if you enjoy their content and you want more from them? Like, say, I don't know how many podcasts, besides the private content, that you do publicly a week, if it's one or two or whatever. But some of the podcasts that do one or two, Rogan is a good example. He does one almost every other day, and they're 3 hours long. But if he had to take a week off, right, because he was doing UFC stuff or he just had something else going on, it was like, there's not going to be a podcast this Friday, people go apeshit because they want his content. They enjoy what he does. When somebody takes it and then purposely redistributes it so that it's not beneficial to this person, you're just being a dick. Why wouldn't you want more content from the people that you like? So that's why you pay for these things.
Yeah, I don't quite understand it either. Lots of our stuff has been put up. Like, the only thing I think you can do, like with the torrent sites, is like you put up a whole bunch of fake links. I would never have it in me to waste time doing this, but I know you can put up a bunch of fake links to mislead people, so eventually they just give up and they don't try to download it.
Oh, yeah.
It just seems like so much work.
Yeah, it just goes to like a dead site, and then you figure after like 10 of them, like, oh, okay, all these are bunk, and then you just stop going to them.
Right. Yeah.
There are people who they're like, I don't want to pay for content. I don't want to pay for anything. Just find a way.
Oh, you mean this entire generation? I know you're talking
just
about.
Give it to me for free. Why do I have to pay?
No one wants to pay for anything.
Like, dude, it's $5, $10. It's not that expensive. It's not like you're paying like $60 for what a pay-per-view used to be. You know, you're paying $5, $10, and we're putting it out ourselves. And
But
if
yeah,
this
and
does well, we can do more. And then people just like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm not helping this. I'm not paying for it. Just somebody give it to me. Why would I pay for this stuff? I don't pay for things.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the difference with like someone like Rich Voss or like when Louis C.K. put out his comedy specials. Like that money is going directly to that person. It's not like, oh, I'm taking a movie that Miramax put out, which they made $800 billion off of. Like, I don't really feel bad about like pirating those movies, but yeah, I would feel bad about taking $5 out of Rich Voss's pocket because he needs $5. Like, he really needs to like buy some shit.
Yeah, clearly.
Well, Giddles doesn't know anything about pirating movies because that would be illegal, and he's not doing that. So.
No.
Eventually,
pirate
Bonnie
art.
is going to need the $250 from that $5.
At some point. Oh, we never did the 4th of July stuff. Giddles, what did you do 4th of July?
I went down the street and I watched the fireworks with all the townies who because I live on like the most towny block in Brooklyn, like out in Greenpoint, where everyone's lived here for 20 years, and everyone will tell you how long they've lived on this block for 20 years and how they used to watch the fireworks with their boombox, and that was it. I watched the fireworks. It was pretty good. Barbecued on my porch.
Do they want to distinguish? Do they want to sort of like set themselves apart from the new hipsters who have moved into Brooklyn? I'm not saying it's you.
It was kind of funny because one of the kids who showed up is one of my coworkers, and he's just new to New York. Like, he just moved here from North Carolina, and the one guy was like telling all these stories of the olden days and watching this and how they couldn't give buildings away in Williamsburg. And he's like, "Where are you from?" He's like, "North Carolina." He just gave him a look like that, and didn't say anything to him for the rest of the night. He just gave him a look, and it was kind of funny.
Yeah, well, what if he just said like Williamsburg, but he meant Virginia, and then like didn't really correct it?
Yeah.
Not that
well, I mean,
educated.
Brooklyn over here is becoming colonial Williamsburg because people are churning their own butter and milking their own cows and making their own candles. So, I mean, we're getting the colonial Williamsburg up here.
I like the idea of that, like in theory, but I don't like the pretentiousness of why people do it. Because they're not. They're gonna. It's the equivalent of being like, I've lived here 20 years. They want other people to know that they got their own fucking butter and shit. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
How much time do you have on your hands?
It's just way too much time. But I mean, it was a good show. I mean, we saw the fireworks, and like I said, just talked to a bunch of the locals on my street. I lived here for 23 years, and I'm doing this, and then some of the guys, I've been here for 25 years, and
more times
all that
than
local
not,
stuff.
when you talk to people who were of an
you
area
first.
or a small town or something like that. Yeah, it's their way of feeling like seniority, like they're better than you. It's like, oh, you haven't been here as long as I have. It's like, good, because look how miserable you are. I'm glad I wasn't here all my life. I'm just passing through, or I'm only here for a couple of years and then moving on to something else. These people are like, I've been here as long as what Giddles was saying. It's like, okay, but you don't seem happy that you're here.
Well, I think the reason a lot of those people aren't happy is because Giddles, not Giddles himself, but the Giddles-esque types that have moved in. That's why they're not happy, because they see their entire neighborhood changing from what they loved. Like that Wild Wild Country, I was really torn between like the Ravnishi and the people from Antelope who were like, I had a way of life that I thought was going to last until I died. Now all these fucking sex maniacs are like right over the hill partying and making a bunch of noise and shit, and like my entire quality of life has just changed. And I get like things change, but things don't normally change to where there's suddenly a city of 10,000 people next to a town of 60 people.
Oh yeah,
that
documentary was insane.
It was crazy how that shit went down. Like, that's a great documentary. That one, the one with the pizza collar guy, something evil.
Oh my, the evil genius. That one was great too. Because I remember that story when it happened, because it was so crazy, and I was like, this is like something out of Saw. And then, like, when you watch the documentary, like, holy shit, this was something out of Saw. Like, this guy had to, like, go to one location to get this thing so he could defuse the bomb, but there was never any, like, actual way to solve it other than he blows up.
Yeah, that dude was going to blow up.
Why? I don't get... maybe I get the attraction to it, but I don't understand why all of these kind of documentaries are now blowing up all at once.
It's because they're true,
like
and the
genre.
Stories are crazier than the fake shit. Like, I would much rather watch a story of a crazy sex cult that's involved, invading Oregon and trying to take over the government than watch the Kardashians. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
but this and those
way
like,
better
those
story.
true murder podcasts and documentaries that come out. It's like out of nowhere. It seemed like they all exploded. Like, this is a big time genre
like
now.
ID Channel, all that stuff.
All this stuff just seemed in the last couple. Maybe because Serial got so big that it opened the doors for everything else, because now all of a sudden there's a lot of women who are listening to these murder podcasts.
The murder podcasts are good.
Yeah, they're getting better at the murder.
No, I'm not saying they're not good, but I've been seeing trends that more women are listening to these things and watching these things. Or maybe hosting.
There's
I don't know.
I've listened to a bunch that are hosting. Every single woman tries to ape Sarah Koenig. Is that her name? Her
From
style.
Serial?
Oh my god,
Yeah, like
the same style.
The exact same like affect in her voice, the same inflection. It is weird how many of them, you know. And so I was wondering, like that weird like sort of speech pattern.
Well, and you also get like a lot of the dudes who all like almost sound like Ira Glass when they do their podcast. Like I put on so many podcasts where a guy just talks and is like, "Oh, hey, we're here with the podcast now," and I'm like, "Is this Ira Glass? Like, is this another podcast that he has? Is this American Life like week 2? Like, no, it's just another schmo with a handkerchief necktie. Like, get out of here."
A solid one is Sword and Scale. Like that's the one
Yeah.
I go to. I really like Sword and Scale a lot. That's a pretty good one.
I did get to work on a Discovery ID show, and it was one of the best things I've ever worked on, because the show I worked on was called Elder Skelter, and it was about senior citizens who went on murder sprees, and it was awesome.
That sounds
It was
amazing.
like the best thing. Like old ladies firing guns and falling over. Like, oh, it's so good.
I watch it all day.
Look, they're not using it. That could be the show title.
I was gonna say
Okay.
I mean, that was
also
the
be the
name of the show.
promo.
It's called Elder Skelter, and they shot the stand-ups at Katz's Deli with these 3 old Jewish ladies who'd be like, "Let me tell you this story about Bubba and how she bit the bullet," and like then they would like do the little intro and shit. And it was actually pretty good. We only got 1 season because there wasn't too many elderly murder sprees that happened. But it did happen.
I think too, it's a new generation of people like you. Like we barely remember the pizza collar thing. You're like, yeah, I remember it vaguely. But there's so like the pizza collar guy is incidental to the story. It's about everyone behind.
Oh yeah,
putting that collar on him. That's interesting, and I didn't know any of that.
I didn't know any of that stuff until I started watching it, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this lady who plotted this whole thing reminds me of my aunt," and it was terrifying for a minute there because I was like, "Oh my god, she could have killed me at any point."
Yeah, but she didn't. Why did she let me survive? Now you got to figure that out.
She let you survive because she didn't like you, and that's your torture.
It's true.
Well, maybe I should check some of these out. I've always shied away from these true crime documentaries, and I was like, I know everybody's been watching them.
Eric, Wild Wild Country is totally batshit insane, and every episode ends, and the next one is even crazier than the last one. Like, it's so good.
The
And it's an
description I
all-true
read on it
stories.
at Netflix seems like it should be the theme for the next Far Cry.
Yeah, I know it does sound
Kinda
nuts.
is.
Gittles told me to watch that one, but every time he's suggested one of these, like the Keepers and then the pizza color one, like all these things have been just totally
Keepers
fucking insane.
Keepers is one of the hardest true crime ones I've ever watched.
Yeah,
like,
that was
painful to get through because it's just women talking about how they were brutally raped and it was covered up by the police and the government, and they were like getting moved around to schools and the churches, and like it was just really just sad. And it was one of those ones where there's no closure at the end. So you're like, wow, now I just know that all these people had their lives fucked up and there's no resolution. That's kind of bad.
I've seen that one too, and if you haven't seen it, this will be worse. It's called Just Melvin, Just Evil.
Okay.
If you can find that, oh my god. Talk about a single dude who ruined an entire generation of his family, and then the next. It's crazy what a piece of shit this guy is.
What's it called? I'm going to write this down.
Yeah.
Just Melvin, Just Evil.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm writing this down because
Not
I
an
love
easy
these
watch.
really crazy story. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll liven it up with telling you my 4th of July story before we go.
Oh, yeah, what'd you do?
So I had family coming over, so we were entertaining, and I went. My day started off with me running around picking up stuff that I had ordered ahead of time, and I was going to do a lot of the cooking for the rest of the day. So to take some of the relief off of all of that, I ordered like appetizers and things from Fairway. So I'm going to.
Is Fairway a grocery store?
Fairway, it's like a huge world. You walk in and it's everything. It's like a Whole Foods but on a bigger scale.
Gotcha.
So you go. I was going to Fairway, and I was going to stop at Dunkin' Donuts to pick up an iced tea. I realized I don't have my wallet, and I said, "Well, I have the app, and it still has some money on there. I'll just go and do that." And as I get to the place, it's only a couple blocks away. The line is actually out the door, and I said, "This is insane. Why is this going on?" So there's another Dunkin' about 5 minutes away in the direction of where I'm going. So I go over there and stop. Not, again, knowing I left my wallet at home, but not going back to get my wallet. I'm still going to go ahead and trek to this other place. Why, I don't know. So I get to the other Dunkin' Donuts, and I walk in. There's nobody there. I place my order, and I have the barcode from the app. Oh, we can't do that. What do you mean you can't do that? And they're making my order. And she said, oh, we don't have the system in place to take the app or gift cards right now. I'm like, why don't you have a sign or something that says that you can't do this? And I just placed the order. Like, well, you can pay in cash. And I was like, I don't have my...
Is the system down or they don't have the
that
system?
I don't know. That I didn't ask, but she's like, we don't have that in place right now. So that could be that it's down, or maybe they don't have the technology to do it, which doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
So I didn't delve that deep into it when she's like, you can pay cash. I'm like, I don't have my wallet with me. She's like, oh, well, we can't do that. I said, then, all right, I'm going to have to cancel the order. So I go back into the car, and I realize I had a few bucks in the glove compartment. I mean, the armrest thing. So I was like, all right, go back in. I pay for it.
You're easily the biggest pain in the ass of the day by now.
I probably am, but I mean, how do you not? You have an app. How do you not use your app in your own?
Okay.
And it's not like a mom and pop place. It's a huge nationwide chain. So now I go back. I grab my wallet. I go out to Fairway, and there was a few things that were screwed up. And I was just like, this day is not going to be good. I could just feel that the rest of the day was going to be horrible. Get those things cleared up.
I call that every day.
Get those things cleared up. Pay for the appetizers. Go to the rest of the place. Pick up a few other things. Go to the cash register now to check out. And I have the box of the appetizers with a label on it. And I'm reading the label as I put everything on the conveyor belt. And I'm reading. It has the order details, and it says paid on the bottom. And that was on the box before it came to me. It wasn't like I paid and they taped the thing on there. That was on the box. And I was like, did I pay twice for the same thing? So now I leave the cash register. I go back to customer service. Yeah, I did. Because I paid online, and that was a while ago. Didn't realize I paid online. And I just paid again. She charged me twice for it. So now they have to go through this whole thing. They give me the money back, and it's just it's a minor inconvenience at this time, but it's all adding up, right? So I drive back. I'm getting everything ready for when family is coming. And then I realize about an hour before everyone's supposed to show up, I don't have ice. And it's brutally hot on the East Coast right now.
What, do you have immigrants? Why do you need ice?
Not in this neighborhood, sir. Not the taxes that I pay. So I didn't have any ice, so I was like, crap. So I had some family that had showed up, and I was like, all right, can you help me out? And they're like, all right, we'll finish setting up here. You go. So I went all over the place, 7-Eleven, supermarkets. I went to 6 places. None of them had ice. All the freezers are completely empty. Oh, well, we're not going to have ice. We'll just have to use whatever's in the freezer, and that's going to be it. So I come back to the house.
Make ice. That's not hard to make ice, Eric.
Yeah.
Just
take some water.
Yeah.
And what the fuck was on your shopping list? It's like, I need hot dogs. I need apple pie. Why are all these things out of stock? Ice. It's like it's the 4th of July or something.
I bought everything the weekend before. And I have a fridge in the garage that I had everything stored in there, so it's all good. But I forgot to get ice. Because I was going to get ice day of, and I should have done it in the morning, and I waited till 4 p.m. when I realized, I don't have ice, and it's all gone. So anyway, I come back defeated, no ice, and I'm in the kitchen, and I'm grabbing the stuff because I'm going to go make wings, grill them on the grill there, and somebody tells me that they had started the grill for me, and I said, okay, and I'm like,
no.
I'm in the kitchen, I'm like, what are we cooking? Nothing. Why? I'm like, there's nothing in the ovens? No. What's on the grill? Nothing. I'm smelling something cooking. What is cooking? And they're like, oh, no, there's nothing on. I'm like, something's on the grill because it just smells like food. So I walk outside. I walk around my back. I open the fence to the other area where the grill is, and there's gray smoke shooting out every orifice of the grill. I went, oh no. So I put the grill, the wings on a table, run over there, and I'm 2 feet from the grill, and there's a heat wall that I'm like, it hit me like a force field. I'm like, I can't touch this thing. So now I run and I grab all the utensils, and I'm Edward Scissorhanding this thing with the spatula and the tongs as I try to flip open the lid of the grill. And as I do it, and I kid you not, if you've ever seen the Simpsons episode where Homer's outside with his charcoal grill and he's squeezing the lighter fluid, like excessively,
empties it
until it drips, and then he and gets another one. He's doing it again. Then he lights it. It shoots a fireball that the whole town can see, and he goes woo like that. I flip the lid open and it goes straight up.
You
right?
added oxygen a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, huge fireball straight up. Shoot straight up. So now the guests that were here, that were in the fenced off area of my property that didn't see where this was, didn't see the smoke, saw the flame shoot straight up, and everybody goes, "Whoa, what's going on?" So now nobody's bothering to help. The fence opens up, they open the gate there, and they're all just watching the show as I'm, fighting the fire with metal utensils. So
someone's dialed 911. They're like, when I say go, press the other one, like just in case it blows up.
So while this is going on, the first thing in my mind is I gotta get the propane tank out of there before this thing explodes. The second thing that's running through my mind is I hope someone's filming this, because I wanted some proof that this was going on, and nobody did.
Where's Bob Saget?
I was actually disappointed.
I was going to say,
we had that whole conversation about catching shit on YouTube earlier. We could have had one of Eric blowing up making, some food.
Yes.
I was going to say, I like you a lot, but if I saw you on Live Leak, I'd be like, I'll watch this.
Yeah, why not? It's like, look, he's sword fighting with tongs, and then he just blew up.
Yeah, then he looks like one of these guys.
They just need those old,
like,
Bob Saget, doing the voices, like, oh, I'm just going to go check on this grill, see what happens.
And then you hear the old cartoon boings.
Yeah.
We were talking about the earlier America's Funniest Home Videos. Like, a good 75% of those videos, somebody got seriously hurt. Like, they're not funny.
Yeah.
It's like, look how funny this raccoon looks walking around. It's like, that thing has rabies. 100% it has rabies. It's out in the day. It's walking all weird.
It was eating Pop Rocks. His mouth is fuzzing.
And then you see the one where, where the father's teaching a kid how to hit the ball off the tee, and the kid swings back too far. Crotch shot right into the nuts there for the dad, and he's kind of smiling. People are laughing that he got hit, and then all of a sudden they realize that they'll never have kids again, and he's now an only child because they thought this was funny. But we almost qualified for the $10,000. Almost.
So did it get worse for you?
It did. So so after I flipped the lid open, right, and the fireball just shoots up, I see flames shooting down, and there's a metal cabinet under the grill. It's not an open grill on the bottom. So now I'm trying to surgically open the doors with the utensils, and now I'm seeing flames shooting down to the grease trap. And not only is there the propane tank, there's also those Pam spray things for the grill.
Rags.
Yeah.
Where do you store this?
All together, apparently. Right.
Keep it near the oily rags.
Yes.
In the garage.
Old painty can Eric. So now I'm like, crap. So I do like a scoop with the spatula, and I knock the Pam cans towards me, and they go flying into the garage, and I drop everything. Now I'm diving in with my bare hands to try to turn off this the gas tank and unscrew it so I can yank it out of there while the top is still on fire.
Is there anything in the grill, or it just just trapped?
Just fire.
It's just fire,
okay.
right?
He's just cooking fire.
As the kids say, straight fire. So
do they say that?
I guess they do.
Okay.
So it's shooting straight up, right?
Never heard that.
Nobody's bothering to help me other than they're watching. Mm-hmm. So I'm in there. So I
Eric's
reach in.
Die. That's all I would be thinking.
I reach in.
They understand the explosion risk because they see all your highly flammable things next to flames.
They're 6 feet away from me. They're going to be collateral damage as well if nobody was going to help me with this.
I'm standing behind something.
I go in through it, and I shove my hands in. I manage to turn the nozzle to cut off the gas, and then while I'm doing that, the other hand is unscrewing the connection to the tank, and then I yank the thing out. So when I yank the tank out, I don't gently put it down. I take it and huck it like somebody threw a keg over my shoulder, and it lands in the garage. So this could have been a whole nother problem. So that the propane tank goes bouncing through the garage, and I push the grill away from the garage, and now I run to get the hose.
Who turned the grill on? Did you ever find out?
A cousin of mine.
Yeah.
Turned it on, and that's fine. They just were helping out. They were heating up the grill, and they walked away from it. That's what it was. That's all it was. So now I'm running to get the hose, and everyone's telling me the proper way now as I'm running to get the hose, trying to turn it on. the proper way to try to put out the fire.
Yeah, salt.
Somebody
not hose.
Somebody's like, throw sand on it, and I'm like, I don't have sand. So I'm running with the
couldn't even get ice. Where am I going to find sand?
I don't have sand. Nobody's running to see if I have an extinguisher anywhere. They're just watching. I go running with the hose, and I turn it on the jet stream, and I'm soaking this thing like crazy, and it finally extinguishes everything. It all goes out. And then as I'm walking over, I'm like, all right, let's do that. And then I say, no! It started like a little hint of this thing was going to come back if I looked right into the grill. Soaked it again. Now the whole thing is just black and charred and what have you. So at this point, I was like, I just pushed it off to the side, and I borrowed a grill from somebody else.
Just use the side of your house.
I was going to say, so you have no ice, you have no sides because Fairway was too crowded, and now you don't even have a grill. This is some party.
I had sides. I got the appetizers. Had no ice. Now the grill's dead, and I'm like, I have all this food that I prepped but isn't cooked.
Your chicken wings have been sitting on a table in the heat for the last 20 minutes.
It's like, what am I going to do here? So luckily, I spoke to a neighbor who was out of town, and they said, yeah, go ahead and take it. So I go over and pop open their garage and bring their grill over. And at that point, I just didn't want to talk to anybody because everybody was just looking at it and nobody bothered to help. So now I said, all right, have the new grill. The other grill's soaked and sitting off in the corner. I have this new grill. It's ready to go. I'm just going to cook for the next couple hours. I don't want to be near anybody. So that's all I'm doing. I'm bringing the food in and out, and I'm cooking everything. And periodically, people are coming over. People that were there would say, so how do you think the fire started? I'm like, I'm busy right now. Please just go away. And then new people who were showing up, like, oh, so I heard there was a fire? It's like, why can't other people tell you the story? Everyone had to come over on one-on-one basis with me to talk about their personal experience with the grill blowing up.
I really wanted that story to end with your neighbor's grill also catching on fire.
I was going to say, you have really good neighbors.
Reaction, the whole block just bursts into flames.
Can I borrow your grill? Yeah, but what happened to yours? Funny story. It blew up.
Yeah.
Actually, you can't borrow my grill.
Yeah, the second grill that I borrowed from my neighbor. You ever see when you explode the mansion in Maniac Mansion by doing something dumb? That's what it looked like from an aerial shot. You just saw a big flame. And
so you have no
that?
idea why it
caught
on fire.
Fallout 3.
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea. The best I can guess is that maybe something clogged one of the pieces
burners?
for the burners for the gas line in there. I don't really know what set the whole thing off, but I looked at it.
Probably fuel and
It's
fire.
7 years old. What warranty am I going to have on it?
I don't know your life.
Some people were like, "Oh, you can get the parts online," and I'm like, at that point, I'm already halfway buying a new grill.
Just roll it out to the street.
Also, it's like, so I'm going to repair a grill that already once did this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I might not repair the thing that made it do that.
That, you know what, that's 100% true. I just, when something breaks like that and I get mad, I just say, fuck it, I'll throw it out and just buy a brand new one. It could be
get a big
salvageable.
green egg.
Oh, I could.
Yeah, get the egg.
You can smoke with that too, right?
Oh, yeah. It's really good for it.
I got a grill recently that has the smoker thing. A couple of black dudes delivered it, and they were sort of laughing at me like
because it was off the truck.
No, because I wouldn't. No, I got it from Lowe's, but these two black guys delivered it, and they were kind of like snickering at me because they were like, "You don't know how to smoke meat," and they were right. I mean, I don't know how.
I wasn't going to tell them that.
Yeah, I'm supposed to admit that, but yeah, I guess is that I guess because it's barbecue, right? So
it is barbecue, but the green egg you can grill, but you can also, it has a feature inside of it you can just smoke.
But smoking has kind of got this like southern like
like black guys would be better at smoking meat than me, like ribs and stuff and chicken and stuff like that. I mean,
that's what I got out of the story. Yeah,
that's. I mean, there's no other reason for them to laugh at me for having a smoker other than like, look at this honky thinking he knows what he's doing.
The janitor from Home Alone thinks he's gonna smoke.
They weren't wrong.
The neighbor that I borrowed the grill from, he's got a smoker. He just got a dry age cabinet.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he's going all. He's looking at building this barbecue pit with a that infrared technology now for the grill, which is still a little bit iffy, but he's all about it. He smokes all the time out there, and you wake up in the morning and it's like, somebody's making ribs, you know, and it's one of the best things to smell.
Next thing you know, he'll be churning his own butter.
Exactly.
And moving to Brooklyn.
There you go.
Knitting Eric some handmade bandages for all his burn wounds.
Yeah, my hand, I singed most of the hair off of here. You can see it's all.
I was going to
weird
ask you
patches.
about that.
Yeah, so the hair was all singed off my forearm and my hand here. It was bright red through all the things. So I was putting like aloe and other stuff on it all day yesterday while I was still cooking with this hand. It felt a little scaly, but it's fine now. So I didn't have to go to the.
I like how the question was not like, Eric, are you okay? It's like, so how do you think that fire started? Meanwhile, his skin's still bubbling.
I had an ice pack on my hand.
Where'd you get the ice from?
Ice pack. I have tons of those ice packs in the freezer instead
he's
of
holding
actual
out
ice.
on us.
Yeah, here you go. Here's
The
a
story's
blue.
taking so many turns.
Here's some blue gel to put in your wine.
Okay, so what I've learned since I've joined this podcast: don't go see a movie with you because
Okay.
you won't see it,
Right.
and never grill with you ever because you might blow up.
Interesting note. Somebody wrote to about the 4th anniversary show last week that when they were hearing the replay of the first show that we did back in 2014. Apparently, I had a problem going to see the Transformers movie
You
because
did.
of a truck fire or something.
You did. I listened
So I was
to
like,
it.
wow, this has been going on for years, that every time I try to go to a movie, there's something that prevents me from going to the movie.
I don't know why we hang out with you.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a problem going to the movies. I just show up and then I see the movie. Like, Eric's got, like, everything will happen. Like, fucking fire raining from the sky and...
It's like Final
it's always a
Destination,
problem.
except nobody dies.
No.
Yeah.
Just Eric's hopes and dreams for seeing the movie.
They're burning up.
Well, I got my movie pass. It came in the mail, so I'm
There you go.
officially ready to go, and I think I'm going to use it tomorrow.
They're gonna
Oh, is
go
this
out.
the one you pay $20 a month or
It's
something?
$10 a month on
10 a
this
month?
one. $20 is going to be the not the Amazon, the AMC. When they've announced their proposal, they haven't put out the actual product yet, but they're going to do, it's $20 a month with AMC, which will include IMAX and 3D movies, where the movie pass does not include that.
I would rather pay full price if they would stop annoying assholes from going to the movies with the fucking cell phones and the chat and all this other shit. That's what I would pay for.
You want screening for your movie?
Yeah, I just want to watch a movie.
I
I
had
just want
that-
to watch a
yeah.
movie uninterrupted. It's
I
crazy.
had that when I went to go, what was the movie that kept breaking down? Was it Black Panther?
Yeah, you couldn't see Black Panther for like a month.
Okay, so I came back later that
You
day.
kept getting
The
beat up,
projector,
or-
the projector kept dying. Like it was supposed to be IMAX, but it was blue. Like the whole screen was blue, and then they kept stopping it. They're trying to figure out what was wrong with it. Then they told us, "Oh, we're gonna have to show it to you in regular,
Definition, yeah.
regular definition." And everybody it was like,
What am I in some kind of third world country?
exactly.
That's
so,
how he acted. He stormed out.
because I paid
I can imagine.
$20 for the ticket.
I can imagine.
So
They wouldn't put this in the
yeah, so
The poor lady in the ticket booth saw him coming the third time and she's like, shit.
yeah, so when I came back, later that day for another screening, it not only was it not blue, the projector stopped working altogether, but you heard the audio. So you're sitting in a perfect black out theater and you're hearing the
That was
audio.
the movie.
And there was nothing.
Maybe the movie was on.
Maybe it was. Yeah, so there was always problem. But the thing with the phone was that while we were waiting to figure it out, and it's dark, they don't have the lights on, they stopped the audio. Somebody put on like their Spotify playlist several rows back, and you're just hearing music blast from their phone.
In the dark.
And it didn't stop. This went on for at least 10 minutes. Like, they weren't just an accidental thing. They just said, well, fuck it, and they started playing music to kill the time.
Wow. And this is why I don't want to go to a
Can
theater.
you picture just Eric storming out of there? Not again. Oh my god.
Yeah, the lady's like, oh, for fuck's sake, here he comes.
Yes.
He's back.
God damn it.
Folding up his opera
Fingers
glasses.
pointing justly.
Madam,
Yeah.
I paid to see this in 3D.
You've
I demand-
disappointed me.
I demand to speak to the manager.
I've paid for an extra D, and I didn't get it.
And the best part about it is now that he
Monocle
bought
just
Movie
falls
Pass.
out.
Yeah. Now that he bought Movie Pass on Friday, we're gonna know that it went out of business.
Yeah. Did you ever see the William H. Macy movie, The Cooler?
I own it. I love it.
Maybe you could be a cooler. It seems like everywhere you go, there's kind of like bad luck and shit. You move to Vegas,
Possible.
or maybe go down to AC, try
I
it
could
out.
be a cooler.
Could be a cooler, man.
Thank you for saying that, but not because of the comparison, but that you like the movie.
Oh, it's a great movie.
No,
Yeah.
like hardly anybody has seen the movie. It's Alec Baldwin and it's William H. Macy. the scene where he pulls the guy's daughter
spoiler
into the back room and punches what you think is a pregnant lady.
Yeah.
He just leans over and he goes, "Oh, really? So this was happening." Wham! Just a fist right into the stomach of this pregnant lady, and you're like, "What the fuck's going on?" Like, it was like one of the most horrific things you see. Then they pull her shirt up and they rip the pregnancy suit off of her, and they throw her into a chair, and she just got decked as hard as he could into the stomach.
Yeah, like if you think you feel bad for William H. Macy as Little Bill in Boogie Nights,
right?
His humiliation is nothing
compared to the cooler.
Yeah.
It's such a good movie because it's always depressing. But it's not.
That's what I want out of a
no,
movie.
but it's an enjoyable depressing. You're like, thank God I'm not that
true
guy.
crime depressing.
Yeah. It makes Requiem for a Dream look like Forrest Gump.
Right.
Oh Jesus!
It's quite lively.
Wow. Holy shit! Man.
Anyway,
I've learned a lot this episode.
We have. We've been all over the place. We should probably wrap it up now.
No, it's fine. I didn't do
Let's
anything.
do the plugs. Bryan Johnson, what do you have?
I have Tell 'em Steve Dave podcast. Listen to that first before you would ever go to Patreon. Why would you pay for something that you're not aware of what it is? And if you like it, then you can go to patreon.com/TellEmSteveDave and get even more of that type goodness.
And again, for those of you who don't know who's on Tell 'em Steve Dave, it's Brian and Walt, of course, from AMC's Comic Book Men, and Brian Quinn, who you may know from Impractical Jokers on True TV.
Yeah, it seems like that would be worth mentioning, right? It's my arrogance that I'm like, oh, everyone knows what it is and who's on it. It's like, what a jerk off I am. I also, let me see, there is this, the American Comedy Company in San Diego on July 19th at 6 p.m. I'm doing a live show with Ming. We're going to just talk about shit, just come on down.
And that's for during San Diego Comic-Con, which we will not be attending sadly this year, but we will be at New York Comic-Con. So if you guys set up something there, we'd love to do a cross venture with you all.
Yeah, I imagine there isn't much going on in San Diego, so come on by and see us.
Giddles, what do you have?
Giddlebase on the Twitter, Instagram, and Xbox Live. And tomorrow night, aka tonight, I'm going to be a judge at an air sex competition. So if you're in the area and you want to come see people have sex with air, I will be judging it.
Where is it? What is there a website we can give out?
It's going to be at Drum NYC, like the bar, and it's called the Air Sex Championships.
Yeah, it's sponsored by. It's the 10-year anniversary. It's sponsored by Real Life Sex Dolls. We talked about it on the show before. What? Don't shake your head at me.
Get the plug out.
I just did. RealLifeSexDolls.com sponsoring Giddles. They asked to be the special judge. I will be there as well as
participant.
I will not be participating as I was told I shouldn't.
Do you have a good air sex game?
No, I don't.
Is it on point?
Well, it's
as
just
the kids say.
The 2017 national champion's defending his title that night there, so that's why we're going.
All right.
For me, it's E-Rock Radio across the board, but for the show, it's Erik Nagel across the board, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The shows are available on YouTube, usually a day later after the initial release, when you can subscribe to us on iHeart or iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you prefer to get your programs. We're, I think, available there.
Yeah, man, if your movie goes out, turn on some Nagel on Spotify.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Everyone just rushes out of the theater. Ah, fuck.
Yeah. And then my damn grill blew up. What? What's going on here? We're here to
They're listening to the podcast, they get hit by a car. It's all just super meta right now.
I came to see The Incredibles. What's going on?
Yeah, I can't watch the beheading videos, but I love when people get hit by trains. This is the fucking Mr. Rogers documentary. What's going on?
Thank you, as always, for your support. I think the posters are coming in soon, so we're going to start giving those away for the 4-year anniversary. Till the next time, everybody, be excellent to each other, and we'll be seeing you.
It's Erik Nagel. And that's all the time we have. Follow the show at It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Unless we do something stupid or something better.